What's going on? What's going on? We are live. Why is my camera not showing up? Why does Codations have a black bar around him? What the hell is this shit? That's gonna take us a minute to figure out. Let me turn down the music here for a minute. Why is my cam link not showing right now? It was literally just working. I just had it. There we go. Wait, I'm back. All right, wait, I'm fixed. Aiden Peak says, hi, Aiden. I think I have to green screen you over here.
Okay.
Because I think that's what has to happen.
Sounds good. By the way, Aiden Peak, I'm pretty sure that's the guy from my stream, I believe.
Oh, nice.
The other night I was telling people about the podcast and everything that we'll be doing that on Sunday, so.
Welcome, Aiden. Welcome. We give us 1 minute here to get our shiznit fixed. I'm just gonna turn that. Can you turn off your green screen?
Yeah.
I think I had to do it on my end because for me, you're just showing up with a black box behind you. There we go. Now it's working. Boom.
Is it?
Yeah. How does can you look on the stream? How do you look? I feel like you look better this week.
Yeah. I'm trying to pull it up here. It was
I feel like it anyways. Aiden says, are there other people in the chat besides me? We normally have a couple. I'm not sure. It says there's 3 viewers right now on YouTube and we got 2 on Twitch. Sometimes it takes people a couple minutes to kind of get in here.
I believe we should have Alex in the thing as well. Another guy that I invited from my Discord. Alex, drop something in the comments or in the chat, my man.
In the comments.
Oh,
you're too used to making videos.
Way better, dude.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just coming through better on. Well, you did put that paper in front of your light. That's probably helping. You finally got that off.
No, I took the paper off for this.
You took it back off?
Yeah. This is off right now.
All right. Hokage says, bruh, my Wi-Fi dropped out like 3 seconds before the stream started. I had to go and reset it, shaking my head. Also, hi. Hey, Hokage, how are you doing tonight, my friend? Good to see you as always, brother. I still don't think that's how. I think it's Hokage-yo, actually, but I always say Hokage because he always yells at me for saying Hokage. Also, your friend Alex D says, hey, Derek and Code. Nobles says, whoa, bro, your friend is super pasty. LOL. No hate. How you guys doing? Well, part of it's because, he's coming through on whatchamacallit. Here, hold up. Boom.
Over here, my
How's
dude.
that? Is that better?
I don't see anything coming yet. I don't even see anything coming up yet.
Look, I can turn this on and off. I feel like it's better when I put that on a little bit. I could be wrong.
I don't see anything yet. I'm waiting for it to kick on. Oh, geez. That's like super contrasty. You got some contrast going on.
Yeah. I can turn that. Hold on. Let me. I don't fucking know. Not too much contrast. Let me go down. There we go. Just a little bit of contrast. Wait, you're adjusting shit now. We're both. You know what? I'm turning my shit off. You adjust it for whatever you want to adjust. All I got is you green screens. You handle the rest, bitch.
Nah, he looks good. I'm just pulling legs and whatnot. Noble says. Does that look?
Aiden said. It's hard for me to tell because my OBS is actually on, it's not on my main monitor. So the color on it is not accurate at all. I can't go off of that monitor at all. So it's really hard for me to try to color grade anything when it's over on that monitor. So you got to kind of look at the stream and make your own judgments, or people in the chat will have to help you. That's why sometimes I think I make it worse. Aiden says, I'm watching Codation's live stream, one of his live streams. What? Yes.
He's watching. So just a little bit of background behind Aiden.
Yuki says, go ahead.
#1 supporter over on all of my live streams and stuff. So that's where he comes from. He pretty much tunes into all of my content. So.
And I just want to point out, guys, me and Codations both use the exact same mirrorless camera, the Canon M200. It's just a prime example of how important lighting is, guys. Just use it for a teaching opportunity. I'm just fucking with you. It's actually, a lot of it's because he's coming over on Zoom, so he's not, feeding directly into me. Barb says Cody looks HD now. Yeah, he does look better this week. Zoom looks a little bit better this week for sure. He hits a little bit of with a green screen on his left shoulder. But that's because of his shadow there. You can kind of see.
That's
well,
because
I can see
my $5 green screen. That's what it is.
Noble says bright lights, man. Hokage says yes, thank you. Noble says nah, he looks good. I'm just pulling legs, whatnot. Aiden says it was a couple days ago. So you're saying you watch Codation's live streams. Very, very cool. Yeah, he has a great personality for live streams, in my opinion. He's definitely making it work. Noble said I wanted to ask a question, if I may, about streaming. Go ahead. Now's your chance before we get into kind of the main, podcast. Definitely. We kind of chill and chat with chat for a few minutes before we jump in. Barb says, I love it when you call me Yuki, by the way. Oh, okay. I will try to remember that. And instead of calling you Barb, start calling you Yuki more. Yuki in the chat. Codations. I'm going to say this, man. Be grateful that you forgot about Don't Starve Together last night and didn't join, because it was a shit fest.
Oh, so you're saying I should have been there so I can give you guys some direction. Did everybody that was playing the community stream, did they never play Starve?
Barb did, but the problem, I think what happened was Pax and Berg kind of like Barb was the only person, Yuki was the only person that really knew how to play the game. And the problem was, right, like 15 minutes after we started, she got raided by another big streamer. So she was getting a lot of followers and stuff. So her focus was kind of on her live stream. So then me, Pax, and Berg had no idea what the fuck we were doing. And we just kept dying. And I think Pax and Berg's morality, is that what it's called? Morality? Not morality. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It just kind of tanked. It just kind of tanked fast. And it just went downhill from there.
Yep. So. Yeah, no, the game is a hardcore. Like, the game is not at all friendly to just loading into the game for the very first time. Like, it's like one of those things. So it's like loading into Minecraft on like hardcore mode. Like, you have to like instantly start doing stuff you need to. But yeah, Hokage says sanity. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Aiden says
start going more insane, and the more insane you go, you get all those debuffs and like lower.
Yeah, it was a shit fest. I'm excited to see how the video turns out from it, to be honest, though, for the YouTube channel. Because I'm excited to see how the editor does it. I don't know if I told you, I use an editor now for the community to do the community streams edits, because I don't have time to go through 3 to 4 hours of footage with everything else I do per week. So I got an editor just... Yeah. So I use an editor now just for the community streams to go through them and make like a highlight reel out of them. So I'm excited to see how he does this one, how he handles it. Aiden says, are you friends with Codations? Yeah, no, we are. No, we're not. Never, sorry, I thought we were. I was wrong. I apologize. I hate this motherfucker.
On OMG, it's Derek's channel. I'm actually, part owner of his channel, just so anybody that's listening to the stream.
That's not true. I want to state that for the record, because in like 10 years when I'm super famous and a millionaire, I don't want this bitch trying to steal my shit by being like, we talked about it on a live stream and he never corrected it.
Listen, he
not true.
Along with it, he didn't say anything, so that must solidify that I do own part of the channel. Exactly.
But in all reality, yeah, we're friends. Just meeting through content. What the fuck did you just do? It looks horrible now.
I accidentally
change that back now.
Yeah, I think I did.
No, you didn't. It still looks horrendous. Whatever the fuck you just did. You are super washed out and bright now.
Still?
No.
Right now?
I don't. Oh, there. It was getting better, but now it's a little worse. Okay, I don't know. You fucked it. We know better than to touch that. No.
There you go.
Chad will have to tell you. I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. But yes, we're friends. But we just met through content creation and all that, and we just. I help him out with figuring out how to do OBS stuff and shit, and he helps me out with being on a podcast, and we just kind of help each other where we can, I guess I would say.
Listen, the noble story is just two people on YouTube trying to build and create a career out of YouTube. Going through the journey together, pretty much helping each other out. That's our backstory for the most part. And then we just became really good friends at that point.
Also, Alex says maybe Cody should take some sun. Yeah, probably. In his defense, I tan twice a week, so.
I don't tan at all. This ginger steers clear from the sun, my friend.
Hokage says, I love it when you call me Hokage, yo. Hokage, yo. Aiden says, I have to eat my dinner. I'll be... I love it when you call me Hokage. All my players in the... Wait, how's that? I forget how it goes. Aiden says, I'd eat my dinner. I'll be right back. Barb says, I tried so hard, but they wouldn't listen to me.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. In all fairness.
Not only that too, in all fairness, man, when it comes to like games like that, I feel like, once people hit, that certain, like you're saying, their characters tanking down, you know what I mean? Like they're just dying really quick and easy. Like at that point, it just becomes more of like a fun, like joking, time experience. You know what I mean? They're probably not even trying hard at that point. They're probably like, whatever. You know what I mean? And just rolling with it,
Yep. Noble says, I always see your stream looking so clear. Mine has artifacting when it's fast FPS, for example. Any idea what I'm doing wrong? What encoder do you use for stream? X264 or whatever, or HVEC? I'm probably messing up with the names hard. I use NVENC. It's called NVENC, NVENC. NVENC new. I was going to say it kind of depends. I'm running at 1080p, 60 frames per second. So with faster, fast gameplay and stuff, you want to have that higher FPS. That'll help a lot with artifacting and stuff. I don't. You'd have to give me more information. You'd have to tell me what encoder you're using, what resolution you're doing, what bit rate you're streaming. Excuse me, I had to burp. What bit rate you're streaming with. What FPS? I keep burping. What FPS you're streaming with? All of that stuff. Barb says, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to bother with the follows. I was just so happy. I'm really, really sorry. No. I wasn't saying nothing bad, Yuki, at all. I was just saying, I think what happened was you got distracted with that. Then Pax and Berg just kind of tanked in their morality. I wasn't saying it like a fault thing.
Sanity.
The biggest issue is just none of us knew what the fuck we were doing, without you. And
sanity, by the way.
But in your defense also, we tried to get Pax and Berg to join us for like the first half an hour, and they were just kind of off doing their own thing dying. Alex says, I missed what game you guys are talking about. Don't Starve Together. Aiden says, hey, do you have a PS5 console? I don't. Codations?
Nope, I don't have a PS5 either. I am 100% Xbox, baby.
Hokage says Sandpea, if I remember correctly. Sandpea? What the fuck? Alex says, watch out, Derek. There's a vampire on your right. Oh, you were talking about Codations. Oh, on your left. Oh, you're talking about Codations. When he went pasty. Aiden says, I'm eating tacos for dinner. Damn, now I want tacos.
Dude, Aiden, I totally had tacos too, man. Oh, yeah, I made some tacos. Did you have hard shell or soft shell? I got to know. It's going to make or break our friendship.
Barb says, I mean, you and me did a hunt by ourselves, so I'm proud of us. Me too, because I tried to do a hunt with Berg and Pax afterwards, and that's where we ended up rage quitting the game. After you left, after you rage quit, I tried to build another world with those two, and we tried to hunt, and that's when I rage quit. I was like, you know what? I'm done with this fucking game. We're going to Raft.
What time did you end up getting off last night for your community stream?
Well, normal time, but we switched to Raft, I think about 3 hours into the stream. Because my community streams are normally about 5 to 6 hours. At like the 3 hour mark, we switched to Raft. Noble says, okay, I'll see if I can tune in when you guys aren't doing something like the podcast. I'll catch you when you have free time. For now, I'll just listen. Again, I'm happy to, if you tell me those things, I'm happy. The best thing, Noble, is honestly, is hit me up in the Discord sometime. And we can jump in a Discord call or something, and I'm happy to explain anything and everything to you. I do it for people all the time. So just hit me up in the Discord sometime, and we'll figure out a time that works for both of us, and I'll run you through exactly like, whatever your hardware is, whatever you're trying to do, and I'll walk you through what I think the best settings would be for you and help you dial it in. I know I've helped Codations do it. I've helped a lot of other people in the community do it.
Nope, didn't do it.
I just punched you.
Just kidding. Oh. Well, you got to delay. So there's a delay.
Barb says, "Are you going to judge me if I say I've never had tacos?" Yes, hardcore. You're judged. Get judged.
Barb says, like, wait. We got to back this.
And she lives in Brazil, aren't they? Like,
wait,
I mean, I know.
Never had tacos, as in like any tacos, like Taco Bell tacos, all the way to like homemade tacos. You haven't had any tacos? Nothing. And what about the female tacos? You ever had any other?
What?
Whatever,
Female tacos. Munching on the. All right, never mind. We're not going there. Barb says, I didn't rage quit. I told you I needed to eat something. That's what you say, but none of us heard you say that. No, I'm just kidding. I believe you, Barb. Yuki.
I
Yuki
believe.
says, yes, I have. Those I'm familiar with. Wait, the women tacos?
The women tacos.
Alex says, aha, don't go there, Cody.
I don't know.
Aiden
who
says,
he's talking
tacos
about.
taste delicious. I like tacos. Barb says, yep. Oh, okay. She was talking about that. That's the only
Tacos
tacos
always
she's
taste
had.
good, my dude.
All right. So as you guys are still, I think we're caught up on chat finally. You guys are fucking a little chatty tonight, which is fine with me. A reminder, why is somebody saying, what the? Somebody sent me a message saying I have to pay them £1. I don't know what I got to pay them £1 for.
Did they say they were paying them £1 or they have the £1 ready for you?
No, they said I need to pay £1.
Oh, gotcha.
Like
Yeah,
British money. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Gotcha.
Like a pound British.
Gotcha.
Pound.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so as you guys are chatting, just let me kind of run through what we're doing tonight in case I know we got a couple new people. Some people from last week might remember, but in case not, let me remind you guys what this stream is tonight. So last week, while Codations make faces, last week, or actually a couple weeks ago, Codations came to me and said he thought it would be fun to do like an Ask Me Anything stream. Where like one stream or one podcast, he asks me questions, and then the next podcast, I ask him questions. So last week, Codations kind of, for lack of a better word, I'll just say interviewed me, and asked me, he came up with a list of questions, asked me questions. People in the chat, you can ask questions as well, which people did last week, asked me questions. Again, this week, the focus is going to be on Codations. So I'm going to go through, I have a list of questions that I came up with. I would say mine's probably going to be more interview style than Codations was. I think Codations just kind of came up with some fun questions and threw them out there. Some of my questions would be the same. Like, for example, I'll probably start with the same thing he started with, which is, what's your favorite sex position? No.
I'm game. I'm game. Let's go. I'm already ready.
Which was like, starting with like where you grew up and stuff like that. But, I also, I don't know. I had to choose questions that interest me or I'm going to get bored during the interview, so that's what I did. But you guys are free to ask any questions you want in the chat, and we'll throw those in as I'm going for Codations, and he will answer those as well. To be honest, we'd rather you guys be asking all the questions and me kind of just grabbing them and feeding them to them, since this is more meant not for me to learn about Codations or Codations to learn about me, but more was for you guys to kind of get to know us, those that are in the community and that are around us, especially since we both tend to do stuff together. Most people kind of know us both. So yeah, that was the plan. So that is what we're doing tonight. I will be asking or interviewing Codations. Like I said, I have questions anytime as you come up with questions. Like I said, type them in the chat. It might take a minute before I'll make note of them. It might take a moment before I actually, ask him the question you asked, because he might be in the middle of answering another one or something like that. But we will get to it. We will answer them, especially ones from the chat. You just changed something again, and it looks crazy again.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
You're fine. You're fine. Yeah. You do you, man. You do you. You can. I keep saying that, but remember, I don't actually. I have a bad monitor, so it might actually look good, to be honest. Okay, so with that said, let's dive in. So we already got a couple questions.
Don't steal my intro.
Let's dive in.
Let's dive in. Anyways, let's go ahead. All right.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is Codations coming at you again with another video.
Oh god, that guy sounds like he's on crack, dude. Like every time that I listen back to my videos and people always give me shit about talking so fast, I'm like, I don't talk that fast. And then I'm like sitting at work, hit the play button, then I'm like, whoa, wait a second, I just mixed like 5 words together. That was not good. All right, so first question up, let's go. What is
first question? We got a couple in the chat already, so I guess I'm gonna start with those right away. We got Aiden asking, what's your favorite food?
Favorite food? 100% pizza, hands down.
Good choice, man. Pizza is fucking good. Hokage says
pizza.
Hokage says if you could bang any anime chick, who would it be? An alien, I assume?
Right now, the only anime that I've really dabbled into, and that would be Asuna, 100% from Sword Art Online.
Sword Art Online Asuna. Asuna? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Asuna. Yep.
Okay. That's the chick's name from Sword Art Online?
Yes.
Okay. Alex D says, "What's your favorite and worst part of content creation?"
That's a fucking good one. All right. Well, let's dive in. All right. So my favorite and worst part. So my favorite part is I get to build a community around playing mobile games, which is something that I really love and enjoy. And then I also like, I'm not gonna lie, I also do like that attention, of putting out content or making videos and stuff and getting positive feedback. I do really enjoy that. And obviously just in general, helping out, the community around whatever game it is that I've enjoyed playing. That would I say would be the best. And then ultimately, if we look for long term, like future for the best, that would be pretty much my idea of what I want to do, or my goal, my dream basically is to do this full time. And then in doing that, I would like to state that I would hope that it would give me more free time. I mean, as far as not free time like away from working, because I'd be putting in time doing this, but more free time as in like I'm not going to a job punching in, you know what I mean, like 8 to 5 every single day, at a place that is, you know what I mean, feeling, and then I just can't wait to get home to do this, you know what I mean. So it'd be sweet to do that. Now the worst part of content creation, I would 100% say the the worst part would be the oh man, there's a couple different things that I want to mention, but I'm trying to figure out how exactly do I want to word them. I would probably say the loneliness slash depression that can set in when creating content, depending on what you focus on. I mean, and what your drive is. Do you know what I mean? And then and not staying up to date in the community. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know if you feel the same way, Derek, or if you've ever got to that point where you're creating content, but maybe your videos aren't popping off as much as they used to, so every now and then, you get your head stuck into analytics, do you know what I mean, or whatever, and you kind of go down that rabbit hole a little bit, so that little bit of not depression, but that little bit of like, you know what I'm saying? Like that disappointment feeling kicks in. Or there's times where I'm so busy with content creation, like with mobile games, that I neglect, my real life friends, you know what I mean, or playing, console games, or PC games, outside of the mobile realm, with my real life buddies. Does that make sense? So there comes a time where I lose that sense of drive because I don't take that time off. I mean, I'm pumping out daily videos, and there's sometimes where, there be 4 or 5 days go by before I really talk to anybody else. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I really need that interaction with somebody outside of just me playing mobile games. So
Do you not get a lot of interaction at your day job that holds you over? Or?
no. I mean, sometimes, yeah, but most of the time, on my day-to-day operations, it's I get to work at 8 o'clock 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then I pretty much, headphones on, headphone grind until 5 o'clock in the evening. I mean, that's pretty much my standard. And then the occasional tech work or IT work, and again, it's only me helping out. Another coworker. There's no really social interaction that I dive into on a daily basis besides me and my wife.
And you don't find because you say, lack of social interaction and stuff, you don't find the interaction from your community to suffice. So is it just that you need real life friends that you actually go and hang out with? Or I guess I want to know a little bit more what you mean by it's super lonely, because I'm assuming you've met a lot of people doing this.
Right. So that part, it doesn't matter about being real life friends or not. A lot of times it literally just boils down to like myself. You know what I mean? Like if I'm not taking that time, because I mean I've got a Discord that's got almost 300 people in it. That people are in there, they're active. I talk to Alex, for instance. If you guys don't know Alex D in the chat, he's a really good friend of mine. So I talk to him on the regular, but besides that, you know what I mean? Like if I'm investing that time, you know what I mean, to really talk to people in the, in my Discord community, talk to people, outside of Discord, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, then, yeah, I mean, I think I think it chalks up to the same for me. Does that make sense? Like real life friends or Discord friends or, whatever else. I think a lot of it just comes down to my interaction, my personal interaction. It's I'm busy with the wife, busy with the kid, busy with work. I get home trying to use all of my time up as much as possible. I create videos, I do all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, by the end of the night, it's, 12 o'clock at night and I haven't reached out to anybody. I do that for, so many days. And then all of a sudden I just get that feeling, of antisocial. I'm just like, man, I really just want to connect with somebody, and sit, and chill and hang out for a little bit or something. So,
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense.
but that's the dark side. Again, I'm not trying to deter anybody from creating, content, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that, I don't like creating content. It's something that I'm working through. You know what I mean? I'm trying to find that perfect balance. I signed up to do daily content, you know what I mean? Daily videos all the time on my channel. I enjoy doing that. It's just sometimes I think that I do need to, you know what I mean? Try to, take that break. You mean, to take that one day off or to, or to double up on a video, 2 videos, one day to get a day, to where I don't have to create a video, that kind of sort of thing. But
yeah, and just yep, great answers. Little side note, I do think that would be an interesting topic to talk about sometime on the podcast. Is the there's this need or this thing nowadays, kind of like create, don't consume, and I really think it's I really think you need to have time to consume. I really think it's a balance of creating and consuming. I think you get a lot out of the consuming process when it's done properly. I think most of the time when people are saying create instead of consume, what they're saying is don't just consume. But it kind of gets taken out of the way. So just side note, might be an interesting topic to talk about sometime. Aiden in the chat says, do you like cookies and cream and chocolate cake?
Both of them, yes, 100%. Yep. No, I'm a big cookies and cream person. When it comes to ice cream, I'm a big Oreo fan when it comes to actual cookies. I mean, and then obviously chocolate cake. Yeah, it's perfect.
Rocky says,
my favorite cake, by the way, though, if you want to know my favorite cake, just for anybody that's out there, it's carrot cake, but not cream cheese frosting. It's got to be sugar frosting. I hate cream cheese. So
Rocky says hello in the chat. Hey, Rocky, good to see you, my friend. Aiden says we have a new president codations. Alex says Tom Brady just reached the 7th Super Bowl. Just plugging, haha. But here's the question. What nearly impossible accomplishment was your dream when you were younger?
Okay, so this actually dives a little bit deep. So I actually did not have any, to be honest with you. I didn't. I mean, I had a really, really rocky childhood. I grew up in a really, I want to say negative childhood that had a lot of negative influences. And so I tended to pretty much put my childhood, my personal childhood on hold. I know that sounds crazy coming from like a 10-year-old, but I pretty much put myself on hold to care for my brother and my younger siblings at the time. And that took up a good chunk of my childhood. And then once I was 16, I moved out of my mom's house. So childhood dream, I didn't really have one, to be honest with you. I didn't even know until I wasted a year at community college what I wanted to do.
Well, kind of going into that, because I do have a couple questions kind of about childhood and stuff that I'd written down. That's what I was going to start with. So diving into that. So can you tell us a little bit about where you grew up and what it was like your childhood? Because I'm kind of interested now that you said it was kind of a rocky childhood and and you basically had to raise your siblings.
Yeah. So basically, long story short,
first, where did you grow up?
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. So yeah, I had a back step here real quick. So basically, I grew up on the East Coast, and I was born in Placa, Florida, which is just outside of Jacksonville, Florida. And then I lived there, I'm going to say probably until I was about 4. My parents were married prior to having me. They had me when I was 4 years old. They got divorced. My dad was in the military. That's how they officially met. My mom was not in the military, but all of my mother's family is part of the military all up and down the East Coast. And then the Navy, by the way. And that's where my mom met my father. He was in the Navy. And then to catch you up to speed a little bit, when my parents divorced when I was 4, my dad moved back to Iowa, here where the current state that I live in, where he was from, and that's where all of his family is from before he joined the Navy and got stationed on the East Coast, basically. And then my mom stayed on the East Coast. So I lived with my mom. She had primary custody. I would visit my father once a year, sometimes twice a year, depending on if we did Christmas, or we went every summer basically. And then we would try to do every other Christmas. Sometimes it didn't work out. But long story short, I moved 29 times my entire life. And that is from the time I was I want to say like 12, I think, is when my father started actually keeping track of addresses that we would move to. So from 12 to 16 is when I moved 29 times. And then basically that's 29 different schools, and that's 29 like different places that we lived. Like we didn't like move like next door or to a different apartment. That's 29 like completely different school zones and everything. And no, it wasn't because my mom was whatsoever, like in the military or dated guys that are in military. No, it was literally my mother, for lack of better words, discovered the internet. And then hopefully she's not watching this, but because I'm gonna get the third degree tomorrow. I don't think she's going to watch this because she doesn't know about the podcast. But let's be for real. But anyways, for the lack of better words, she found out about the internet. She discovered the fact that she could meet men online, and through like what was it back in the day, like AIM, like AIM Messenger or whatever was like the big one that she was using, and all those other ones, like when dial-up was a thing.
Yeah.
But long story short, she would meet these guys on the internet, know nothing about them, and then she would basically root us as kids, 3 kids, in with these random these guys. And then, yeah, I mean, that was pretty much my life, from, I mean, geez, I don't even know, probably like 6 or 7 or whatever, all the way through up to the age of 16. And then we would just pretty much just live with them for a while. Either they would get tired of my mom, you know what I mean, and realize that she was just using them for money or whatever, or the opposite would happen. I mean, there was a couple times where the guy would cheat on her or vice versa, and she'd move on to somebody else that she had met. So long story short, to wrap it all up, my mom, through the entire childhood of these things going on, she got addicted to prescription medications. And that was pretty much her life from that point on. Unfortunately, until, I want to say, I think they've been married now for like 10 years, maybe. I'm 27, but I'm going to say maybe 10 years now. And that's my stepfather. And she's been married 4 times. My mom has. I did not go to the last wedding, because when she called me and asked me, I was like, however old. And I told her that I figured there'd be another one. That was my response, I believe. Um, but anyways, so long story short, so she's been married to the same guy for a while now, and they do officially live in Iowa here with me now, ever since we had our son, because I'm my mom's oldest child, so she wanted to be closer to him, to my son, to be a grandmother to him. And then that currently is also a struggle that we are dealing with right now. Because she's already thrown the grandparents have rights, stuff my way. But anyways, long story short, crazy childhood. Mom was hooked on prescription medications our entire life. There was a lot of negligence, and a lot of just me taking care of my brother, that sort of thing. A lot of people always ask the question, well, then why didn't you just go live with your father? My father did very well for himself. He ended up getting out of the military, did electrical work for a while, because that's what he was on the naval base, was an electrician on a actual aircraft carrier. That's what he did in the Navy. And then he did a little bit of that for a while. Then he went into correctional officer for a local prison. So he did that for so many years. And then he basically worked his way into airport security, like TSA. And then now he is like one of the big wigs in the Des Moines airport area. And makes buku's money. He got remarried to my stepmom, and I believe I was like 6 or 7, so it was really quick, not too long, a couple years after my mom. And then they've been married ever since, and they had a daughter as well together. But so back to what I was saying is I went to go move in with him. I came up and visited him one summer, and I want to say I was like 9, maybe somewhere around, maybe a little bit younger, but I came to stay with him for the summertime, as I always did. Decided that I wanted to move in with him at that point. He got papers drawn up by a lawyer and everything. I flew back home with the papers for her to sign. She was gonna sign them, and then I couldn't live with myself for whatever reason at that age. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, but I went to my mom the night before, told before she was gonna sign the paperwork and send them in. And I told her not to sign the paperwork. I wanted to stay with her. She ended up not signing them. I stayed with my mom. And then when I called my dad, I had to explain to him, by the way, again, like I said, I'm like 7 to 9-ish age. And I had explained to him that the reason why I didn't move was because I wanted to stay and take care of my brother. My brother was provided by a different person that was not married with my mom or at all, and he had nobody else there. And my sister at that point had already moved in with my father on her, one like the summer prior to that. So I didn't want to abandon him. So that was coming from like a 7-year-old or 9-year-old at the time. And then I pretty much lived with my mom's house until I was 16. And then I moved out of my mom's house at 16. So hopefully that answers the question on my childhood. What was the original question? Oh, the dream question. Yeah. So the reason why that was the reason why I didn't have a dream. Or at least that's what I blame it on anyways. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe when I was a kid, I dreamed of being something, but I can't recall it, to be honest with you, because I had so much other stuff going on that I never really focused on that. And quite frankly, I didn't even think I was ever going to go to college, or I mean, I knew I was going to finish high school because that was a goal of mine. I wanted to finish high school for sure. Yeah, I mean, I ended up meeting a girl in my freshman year of high school who was very straight and narrow. Her parents went to church all the time, very, very respectful. So I pretty much was just taken underneath their wing, and they did as much as they possibly could to basically pretty much probably teach me what I know now. I mean, a lot of what I know now. And then that's kind of what set me onto the right path of being like, oh shit, I actually need goals. I actually need, an idea or something, that I want to achieve, and then that's pretty much why I ended up busting my ass my senior year in high school. Took a lot of honors classes to get additional credits because my GPA was so low. I couldn't get I had to try to get my GPA up to a 2.5. Yeah, that sounds crazy, right? 2.5 in order to get accepted into most universities. And so, yeah, long story short, I worked my ass to get there, got to that point, wrote a really long, what do you want to call it? Not an acceptance letter, but a letter, to the college board, basically saying this is why I feel like I should be accepted, only with a 2.7, the lowest that they would ever accept, that type of thing. And then long story short, my girlfriend at the time ended up deciding to not go to that college. And we ended up not going to college. So I put in all that work and didn't go to college, but whatever. At that time anyways, I mean, I ended up going back to the local community college, and doing something else on my own. But the original plan, I was supposedly going to go to a 4U university that I never attended. So anyways.
Okay. Aiden asks real quick, what's your favorite holiday?
Christmas, 100%.
And then he says, would you rather have a pizza party or do nothing?
Obviously a pizza party for sure.
Yeah,
and then back to the whole Christmas thing. I've got like, no joke, I'm a huge Christmas fanatic. Like, it's insane. We had a 1-bedroom apartment, and I'm pretty sure I had every surface of that 1-bedroom apartment, including on top of the cabinets, covered in Christmas stuff. I have like 10 totes downstairs in my basement that is nothing but Christmas decorations. Every year after Christmas, I hit all of the big box stores. You can ask my wife. I will blow $1,000 on new Christmas decorations. I am literally a ridiculous. I mean, like in wrapping paper galore. I buy wrapping paper. I see it. I'll buy Halloween wrapping paper in the middle of the season and then carry that sucker to next year's Christmas. I love Christmas. My favorite holiday.
Okay. Taking back to your childhood though for a minute, had a couple quick questions.
Whatever you got.
So you just said you had a brother and a sister. Is that it? You just have one brother, one sister?
Nope. So then I've got a stepsister, which was provided by my stepmom prior to my dad and my stepmom getting married. And then I got a half sister, which is provided, obviously from my dad and my stepmom. So I think that makes two or three females, and then one brother, and then myself. So yep.
Okay. 3 females, not 3 sisters. Okay.
3 sisters. Sorry. 3 sisters.
I'm just messing.
3 sisters.
And when you said you moved a lot, your mom was going to all these different guys. Was it all in Florida, or did you move all over the country?
No. Yeah, all over the country. So my mom's family are actually from Virginia Beach, Virginia. That's where they all are. So that was actually in terms for other people to understand, that was like the safe zone. Does that make sense? So anytime we got kicked out from somewhere that we didn't have anywhere else to go or anything like that, we always went back home, right? So we always went to, basically Virginia Beach. We lived with one of my relatives, whether it was a cousin, aunts, uncles, my grandparents, my grandma, rest in peace. She's dead now, but she was like my second mom. I mean, she took care of us, a good chunk of our childhood, when my mom, couldn't provide for us, or we lived with her basically at that point. And then yeah, I mean, so basically I've lived as far north as West Virginia and Richmond area, and then I've lived as far south as Florida, and then I've lived almost everywhere in between. So like Charleston, South Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, Nags Head, Moyock, North Carolina, Virginia Beach, Virginia, Portsmouth, Virginia, Gastonia, literally up and down the East Coast. I lived in Georgia for a little bit. I don't even remember where the hell we lived, where the hell the town was called that we lived in. Georgia, Tennessee for a little bit.
Do any of the places stick out in your mind are like favorite places that you lived? I mean, do you have recollections of any of the actual areas, or was it just so quick that you really don't?
Well, a lot of the stuff that when I was younger, I don't like that, would be, that's hard for me to say like this place. But I would say the biggest one, which is kind of sad, but the biggest one was the safe place. You know what I mean? Was
Virginia
the
Beach.
Virginia Beach,
Okay.
Virginia. I mean, that's pretty much where we always went to. Holidays, we were always there, no matter where we lived. You mean, to visit family members. That's probably where I spent the most of my childhood, was in Virginia Beach, just because, like I said, I mean, even if we lived with somewhere else, we'd always would find our way back to Virginia Beach. And then when I graduated, and I moved out at 16, I actually went back to Virginia Beach for a while.
Okay.
That's where I went back, to get, reacquainted with stuff and what I needed to do and how to get my life straightened out. So
Yeah. And to go back into the question that was asked earlier a little bit, but kind of to
Yep.
phrase it a little different, just to see if, so, I mean, when you were doing all this, I mean, did you have any thoughts? Were you ever thinking about like, how your life was going to be when you got older? I mean, do you remember ever thinking that, like how you were going to do it when you finally got to that age that you can kind of get out from it all?
No, actually I didn't. There was a long time, uh, no, I like I said, man, I couldn't even tell you anything that I ever thought about. I mean, I can tell you some of the interests that I had, so I think maybe that might have piqued a little bit of like stuff. Like I was really, really, really big into to skateboarding for the longest time. Like from like I want to say from like 11 or 12 up until probably when I was 16. I did nothing but skateboard. I mean, I hit a lot of skate parks. I was actually in a lot of skateboarding tournaments and like competitions and stuff. I was actually pretty good, like a pretty good local skateboarder, especially when I lived in Richmond, Virginia. There was a store, it's closed now, but it was called Dominion, and I was semi-sponsored by them, so I actually got a lot of like donated boards and stuff to me, and like t-shirts and hats and stuff, so that was pretty cool. But I never pursued it or anything. I mean, because we moved too much,
Yeah.
I never really was stable enough in one place. But I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, like I said, I never had that childhood dream where people are like, I've always dreamed of being a cop. I signed up to, to join, the cop, or to be a cop, here, or the force or whatever. You know what I mean? And then the same thing with like people who are teachers, like I've always dreamed of being a teacher. I've always dreamed of being a doctor and a nurse. No, I mean, I've never had that, to be honest with you. And I didn't really have any sort of interest either, to be honest with you. I mean, I grew up playing video games, just as we had video games, and then in other friends' house playing video games. But I never dreamed of, or I don't think a lot of people did at that point, of being playing video games for life. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I
Well,
think
going
in high
into,
school,
oh, go ahead.
go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, I think in high school, it started to shift a little bit. I really developed a love for art. And all the way up into high school, I mean, I would draw and sketch a lot. I mean, so like that was another big thing that I got into. But I didn't dream of being an artist. You know what I mean? I just knew that was something that I enjoyed doing. You know what I mean? And that's something that I wanted to know more on and learn more. So in high school, I took every art class that my high school would allow me to take. So.
Well, kind of going into, I see real quick, Alex has another question, so let me ask that real quick. He's asking,
go ahead.
what's your favorite music style and or artist?
So music style is hard. I'm kind of all over the place. I would say in my teens, and I still venture back to that, is going to be alternative rock. I love a lot of like Shine Down, or I guess I should say a range. So everything from like Shine Down to all the way to Slipknot and Godsmack. Kind of like that alternative realm is kind of what it gets into. I did dabble a little bit in a screamo, but I'm all over the place, to be honest with you, Alex. I listen to pretty much anything. The wife is a huge country fan. I've grown to like a little bit of that. It's not my favorite genre, but I know a lot of it, and there is some songs that I absolutely will sing. And then I like a lot of hip hop and rap and stuff. I'm a huge Eminem fan. I've been listening to Eminem since Eminem was a thing. And then I don't know. I mean, I'm all over the place. And then I'm really, oh, you know what? Fine. I'll convert this question. How about that? Let's convert the question. What is my secret pleasure music that I absolutely enjoy that not a lot of people would enjoy? And that is going to be pop swing music. I am a absolute fan of swing electro or like pop swing music, man. I don't know what it is, but it's my forte, dude. It's my jam. It's got like a, you know, like a deep rhythm, you know, like the Charleston, you know, that kind of like genre, that era. I just absolutely love it. But anyways,
Fair enough.
back to your question.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, so you said you mainly hung out in Virginia Beach. This might be a hard question. I don't know. I'm not an expert interviewer or anything, but just one that popped to mind was so if you had, since you said kind of Virginia Beach was your base home, instead of just trying to like really go into describing me, you know, Virginia Beach, can you describe growing up in Virginia Beach in one sentence? If you had to put it in one sentence?
Yeah. One sentence.
Or, you know, I mean, it could be like a parent, but you know what I mean? Just like
Growing up in Virginia Beach is I would say a sandy surf-tastic experience. There we go.
okay.
That's my sentence.
And then going off of that, you said that you were big into skateboarding, and then you also
Yep.
said what was the other thing? I know art, but I mean the other thing you said
Yep.
outside of skateboarding. Video game. You said something else. Oh man, it slipped my mind. But anyways, I was gonna. It kind of then led me to the question or thinking of what's one of your like most favorite childhood memories from growing up in the area. Well, I guess it doesn't have to be Virginia Beach, but do you have like a, you know, I remember like what, like for example, just to kind of give you a minute to think here, you know, I remember like the day I got a Sega Genesis. I don't know why it was just like such a happy moment that Christmas opening that Sega Genesis. Like it's just etched in my mind forever. Like, do you have any of those childhood memories where it's just like that was a good fucking day or that was just a good fucking.
Kind of, sorta. I mean, it really just depends on the time period. Because the hard part is I've moved so many times that I can't. I think I talked about this on one stream too with you. Maybe it was a live stream when you were gaming or something. But like, it's hard because I've moved so many times and met so many people, and I've lived in so many things and have done so many things in my life through those experiences that a lot of it meshes together. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I know as crazy as that sounds, do you know what I mean? But like it a lot of shit just gets blurred and put together. I mean, you know, and kind of mashed together. I mean, some of the big things that if I'm just speaking off the top of my head right now, some of the biggest things that kind of stand out to me, I would say probably going to Busch Gardens in Water Country, USA. I only got to go once in my entire life, but both of those places they sell like a package bundle together. Very, very awesome experience. Just because I got the opportunity, it was provided by the way by my aunt, and I got the opportunity to bring a friend of mine from school, which was also a fellow skateboarder, and so that was really cool. So that's like an experience that just sticks out to me right away. And then just to think of a couple other ones, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, one of them probably would be the fact that we lived in a house with a guy that was like, I want to say 2 blocks from the actual Gravedigger. If anybody's a Monster Truck Rally fan here, so his actual house and where he's from is from Nag's Head, and we actually lived like 2 blocks down the road from him. And so I've met him numerous times. I got to go out to his house, and he has like in the front yard, he's got like, you know, basically versions of the monster trucks that he would drive, and you know, in his competition. I mean, you can stand out there and take pictures and everything like that. And so I've actually met him and his parents both.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was pretty cool. And then I want to say the last but not least thing I think that stands out really big that I thought was really badass was I met a lot of professional skateboarders when they came in through Virginia Beach, Virginia. They came to the 17th surf shop down there, and and it was like Bob Barker, Bob Burnquist, and then what was Ray Barbie, um, uh, Ryan Sumner, some of the really, big names back in the day that skated for audio. They came through, and I got to actually go out and meet them. It wasn't anything special for me. It was just, there was like, I don't know, like 35 people, 40 people, like from the skateboard park that got invited, that somebody had like leaked out information that they were at the local, 17th surf shop. We all went down there, bombarded, of course, the window, and then we got through, and I've got a board that's in the garage. That's like the Feast and the Firm tour is what tour they were on. And they weren't scheduled to stop there. They just happened to stop there to pick up skate parts or whatever they were doing. Then I got all of them, their hand signatures on the board. So that was
really cool. Yeah, that's really dope. Aiden in the chat asked, do you play Fortnite?
No, currently at the time, I do not play Fortnite. I did play a whole lot of Fortnite. At the start of Fortnite, when Fortnite was growing on the console, I played on Xbox. And then, I think that was probably even before the whole Ninja, era, actually grew to be as big as it was at the time. I don't think hardly anybody was really playing Fortnite. I just jumped in and was playing with a few friends, and I ended up playing for like 2 or 3 months, I believe. And then
Okay.
I got out of it. But
Okay.
I didn't create content or anything like back then. So anybody that's
Yeah.
listening to the podcast, by the way, I have not created content on YouTube for a total of a year yet. So
Okay. And going back to kind of the childhood, whatever, because,
Yep.
you kind of gave some of the happiest, and this doesn't have to go like super, because, it sounds like your childhood was a little whatever. But is there any like your worst childhood memory? Do you have like a worst childhood memory?
Oh yeah, I've got some crazy ones. So one of them was is I had mistakenly OD'd at one point. And by
Mistakenly.
mistakenly, yeah. So basically, I got home from school one day. I got in the car, and it was me and my cousin was driving. My cousin was coming to stay and live with us at the time. We were driving my mother's car, and we were just going, I don't even know, to run errands or something. I can't remember exactly what we were doing. But I had a headache, so I reached in, opened up the center console, and I was just digging through the center console as we're driving down the road. And I found a travel size Tylenol bottle, right? Not thinking twice about it. I was like 15 at the time, not thinking twice about it, opened it up, threw 2 on my hand, threw them back. And then I want to say like an hour later, 30 minutes to an hour later, I don't remember anything from that point. And that was on like a Friday until like that Sunday evening. Like I don't remember
Wow.
anything. And come to find out, about an hour or two later, I was calling my girlfriend at the time, who was that straight, narrow girlfriend. And so I was talking to her on the phone, apparently, which again, I don't remember any of this, but she said I was talking to her on the phone. I was slurring really bad. I was puking at one point when I called her. Her mom, by the way, is a nurse. She called my mom, tried getting my mom to take me to the hospital. Basically, my mom wouldn't take me to the hospital. Instead, I pretty much was told that I had slept for 2 days on the couch, like not waking up, just literally sleeping for 2 days. And then the answer that I got, again, not to put my mom on blast, but we're already here, right? I got told by my ex-girlfriend now, but my girlfriend at the time, her mom claims that she told my mom on the phone numerous times to take me to the hospital that I could die. And my mom's response, I believe, again, this is, hearsay,
Right.
and I've
Right.
never confronted my mom about it, but apparently my mom had said no, because they'll take my child support away. So I'm not really sure if that's exactly true or not, but I don't know why the mom would have any reason to lie about that. But yeah, so that's
Jeez.
one crazy story. So I don't remember that at all, which is crazy. But yeah, and then another one. Let's see here. I've got so many different ones. Probably I would say the time that I got arrested. That was pretty terrifying. So I went to Walmart. It was me and a bunch of other of my friends at the time. And my friends, by the way, we lived with my cousin, my aunt and uncle. And my cousin, I believe he was in like 11th grade and I was in 8th grade at the time. So, all of his friends are, quite a bit older than me. And, of course, when you're in that group, and you're the youngest one, I mean? You're the person that they want to dare you to do things, or to do things all the time. So I was hanging out with these guys. We decided to bike up to Walmart. And then when we were biking up to Walmart and everything, You know, we are joking around, dicking around in the store and stuff, you know, just causing chaos and stuff. And then, long story short, we decided to steal something. That was what we were going to do, is we're going to steal something. And the kid, me being me, you know, 8 years old, or eighth grade, one of the kids, they ended up, that was older than me, 11th grade, decided to, I don't even know what it was, like a football or something, took like a football or something, right? And then he, you know, we walked him out to the store, right? And he made it out the store, like just having the football in his hand, right? Like, and well, that was what started it. And then, you know, me being me in eighth grade, I wanted to one up that, you know what I mean? So I decided, oh, a football, and I can get away with a lot better than that. So I went back to like the sporting goods section, and they had, back in the day, they don't anymore, but back in the day, they had a paintball gun, like a spider paintball gun that was in the plastic, you know, like, you know, like triangle shaped, you know, packages, you know, sort of like the gun bulged out the side, you know, and then you had like the tank and the mask and everything in the plastic thing. So I
Right.
decided to take that, and shove it under my shirt, which obviously didn't work, right? Like, I mean, it's like bulging straight out of my shirt, right? Like way too big. And I'm not very tall, by the way. I'm like 5'7", 5'8". And so, you know, so I'm literally, and I literally walked out of the store, and I got out of the store with it, right? And we're all freaking having a blast, you know, all going nuts, going crazy. So no shit, we get on bikes, right? And we're riding bikes, and I'm carrying this fucking, you know, paintball gun, right? We cross this median, which is like a highway going 2 lanes going this way, 2 lanes going that way. I go across the median. We get to the median, and my friends, a police car basically pulls up, and it was a female, right? She's still in the car, she's got the window rolled down, she sees like 5 of us kids on bikes, and, you know, oncoming traffic going this direction, and we have to cross basically. And where we cross, there is like fence posts, you know what I mean, to where a car can't pull in there, you know what I mean, and like a curb, but people can walk, you know, you can walk through to get into the neighborhood that my aunt and uncle lived in. Long story short, as soon as she pulled up, all of the kids bailed. They all literally just like left. Like, some of them left their bikes there in the middle of the median. They ran across, you know, the highway, went all the way across, you know, into the neighborhood, jumping in the back of fences and stuff, right? So I look over I'm carrying this paintball gun. I look over at the, you know, the cop sitting in there in the car. She's got her seatbelt still on, the windows down, right? I'm like, I can fucking outrun her. Right. So I dropped the paintball gun, okay, dart across the median, you know, at this point, thankfully there was like hardly no cars. When I say highway, I don't mean like, you know, like super fucking busy, but it was just a highway that had, you know, a median. So we cross. And like an idiot, I'm an eighth grader, I run straight down the fucking street, like dead middle of the road, straight down the street, knowing that she can't come pull me behind me on this side, not remembering that there's an entrance to the neighborhood like half a block up the street. So I'm running straight down the street. The cop of, you know, goes up to the stoplight, takes the left, you know, comes on, instantly cuts me off, you know, on the road. And before I know it, this chick at the time, you know, had me laying on the ground in handcuffs, you know what I mean, and basically stuffed me in the back of the, you know, the cop car.
That's
And
funny.
I am just panicking, dude. And at this point, like, I'm acting all hard, right? You know, I'm acting like, you know, I'm a badass, you know what I mean? Like, you know, don't care in the world, right? All of a sudden, the moment I got in the car and I realized that the front side of my knee was touching the back of her seat, and then the back side of my leg was touching my seat, um, I started bawling. I just turned into a real soft baby. And she's like, it's okay. You know, how old are you? And I was telling her, I'm like, I'm in eighth grade, you know, and she's like, okay, you know, I'm going to take you home. You know what I mean? You know, what's your address? And I'm literally like sitting there, and I'm sitting in the back of 105 Shelby Drive. I mean, just freaking bawling, dude. And then I got to the house. My uncle answered the door, which was in the military, you know, and he, you know, instantly was like, nope, you're getting the ass whooping, you know what I mean? You know, so, you know, I got inside, you mean, you know, got my ass whooped, went back up to my room. And when I got to my room, which I shared with my cousin who was in 11th grade, all 5 of them sat there waiting for me in the room.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
Yep. That would probably be the 2 most experiences, I would say, probably, in my opinion. Other than that, I mean, I haven't had anything too crazy, but yeah. No, I
Hokage
didn't
says you
keep the
keep the
gun,
gun.
Hokage. Nope. Nope. From my understanding, I don't even know what happened to it, to be honest with you. I don't know if she picked it up, or I don't know if she took off, you know what I mean, and left it sitting there. I don't even know what happened to their bikes, to be honest with you. I never asked the question. But
Yeah, and we talked about, you know, I know you kind of said some stuff about your mom or whatever, some negative stuff, and I
mhm,
kind of asked what your and one of my questions after that to follow up was going to be what was one of the worst things that you ever did as a kid? Would you
right.
say that answered that already, or
As far as the gun thing?
Yeah, like I'm saying, was that theft one of the worst things you ever did as a kid, or do you got something
Oh,
worse you did?
no, I mean, I think that'd probably be pretty close to the worst thing I've ever done. I mean, I have a laundry list of theft in general. I mean, I used to steal a lot of stuff, but as far as actually getting caught, that was one of them. I think another one that was probably really bad. I mean, if we're breaking it out, we might as well break out the dirty details.
Mm.
I was not a good kid in high school. I was a troublemaker, and I was a troublemaker who was failing and didn't like to do any of their work. You know what I mean? And so I constantly looked for other kids to, nag on or pick on. I mean, or to basically highlight myself, in front of the class. So there was one time I come walking into the classroom, and of course I'm like always at the bell, right? Like I'm not going to be early. So like I was like right at the bell. And I come walking in, and I had an old biology professor, and this was probably one of the craziest times. But I walked right up to him, and I did that trick, where like you ask him what's on his shirt, and he looks down, you know what I mean, and you like rub your finger across
Yep.
his nose, whatever. Well, instead I did it pretty aggressively. So like I walked up to him, you know what I mean, and I like hit his chest, and this is in front of the entire class. I punched his chest like with my finger, and then I was like, "What's that right there on your shirt, Doc?" And he looks down, and I went wham, like really hard across his face. And within a matter of seconds, he had grabbed me by the chest, you know what I mean, and slammed me up against the wall. And then, there was a couple extra swings that I got in, and I pushed him, shoved him. And this is an old man, I shoved him off of me. I mean, there was like stuff like that I did. Another time I can recall that was pretty shitty of me. Which, by the way, if this guy ever found this podcast, I do apologize. But he was a geeky kid, super geeky guy, and anyways, um, I would in front of the class, I was wearing sweatpants because, again, I was a scrub, so I just used to wear whatever the hell, I wanted to, but I was wearing sweatpants, and I purposely I pulled them down to where my ass cheeks were hanging out the back. Right. And I'd cover the rest with my shirt on. By the way, this just makes people like who's watching me. Like, I'm glad I haven't advertised this to my channel yet. But so like, what I did was I purposely went in front of his desk, you know what I mean? And I like knocked something off of his desk, like in front. So then he leaned forward, and then I like pulled up my shirt, and then his nose went right into my ass cheeks, and the whole entire class laughed at him and everything. Like just shit like that. I was just an asshole, man, as a high school kid for sure. I was always looking for that. I mean, and like I said, and obviously stealing, I stole a bunch in my childhood. A lot of it could be chalked up as I didn't have. So I stole, you know what I mean? So, I mean, a lot of it was, I would go to Walmart, and I did the layering of clothes. You know what I mean? I would put on, several pieces of clothes underneath my main clothes in the changing room. I did that for a while. I would stay the night at people's houses. I'd go to like parties and stuff, and stay the night at people's houses. And then I would like load my book bag up with like their shit, and just make sure I don't like wear it like around them, just because, I didn't have this stuff. And that includes like Game Boy games. I was very big on that when I was a kid. That's how I played a lot of Game Boy games. I had like almost every Pokemon edition growing up, and that was only because I stole them from somebody else and never paid for it for a thing of Pokemon. Not saying that I approve of any of this. Obviously, I'm a completely changed person, a different person now. But yeah, I mean, my childhood was pretty
Okay.
eventful. Let's just put it that way.
Alex asks, I think it's a good question. He says, not living in the USA, how do cops treat young children stealing? Is there a kids' court or something? Was there, I mean, besides getting taken home and dropped off to your family, was there any repercussions?
Nope, nope, no repercussions whatsoever. Just because they couldn't prove that I had done anything. The cop was not, from my understanding, the cop was not called by Walmart or any sense, of stealing a paintball gun. So I don't know if Walmart ever found out about stealing the paintball gun. To be honest with you, and I know for a fact we never even. And if we did, I can't remember it. We never even talked about anything. You know what I mean? Like after
Yeah.
that night, as far as that goes. But no, I mean, technically, from my understanding, I mean, I do know that there's like a children's, like detention center. And I do know that there's a lot of stuff like that, because there was a lot of times where I got threatened to be sent there, from not only from my mom, but from like different programs at school and stuff that I kept on, getting sent to like detention and like, in school detention and out of school detention. So they would send me to, what the hell is that place called? Here in Sioux City, like C Stop or something. Isn't that what it's called? Um, I don't know, but anyways, there's a lot of different ones like that for Alex. Because if you don't know, Alex is from Canada, so that's where he lives. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, you've kind of been in trouble a little bit too. I mean, growing up. I mean, have you been into anything like that? I've never been into any of those facilities. I do know that they exist, and I know that there's like juvenile detention centers, which are people I believe under 18. Right? Am I wrong?
Uh, correct. There's juvenile court system. So yeah, there is a kids court system. I don't have any experience with it or know anything about it. Most of my
Okay.
trouble with the law came once I was mainly why well, we talked about it last week. Mine was mainly with driving and stuff. So like 16 to like 19, 20 years old, was kind of
Gotcha.
my issues with law, and it was related to driving. And with driving offenses, there's not a separate kids court. It's just you go to the same traffic court as anybody else
And
once you start driving.
driving, just had a side note. I know this is about a podcast about me, but I'm just curious. When you say driving, you said that on the last podcast too about you. Was it just like street racing and shit? Was that like something you were into, or was it more of like just
No, remember I
fun
got
or
yeah. It's fine. You just didn't listen to what I said last week and already forgot our whole interview. No, I got an underage DUI. If you don't remember Codations,
yeah, but I'm
and
talking
then
about, like,
I was driving around without a license, and I kept getting arrested and stuff for that. Not having a license and stuff because I was.
right, okay, which I knew
But that
was
was
one
the
offense.
extent.
I just didn't know
Now,
if you were like into cars and like racing and
nope.
shit. That was part of it too. Okay,
I mean, yeah, I street raced and stuff some, but I had a, standard, but no, I didn't get in trouble for any of that. My trouble was
gotcha.
mainly with keeping a license and still driving without one. And I also had stints of, and again, not this about, but I also had stints of stealing stuff, but I never got caught, I never got in trouble with any of it. So I have no experience with the
Gotcha.
court systems. So okay, so we're talking a lot of negative, and I still a little bit childhood, but kind of going into relationships. I want to kind of get in about your
Yep.
wife and stuff. But before we get into the wife part, kind of still at the childhood part, can you tell us the story of your first kiss? Do you remember that?
No. Nope.
No recollection at all?
No.
Oh,
I'm
man.
pretty sure there's a story. I'm pretty sure there's a story that's been going around for.
What's the first kiss you do remember then?
Oh, jeez.
If you say your wife, I'm gonna know it's because she's just sitting right there to your left.
No. Now my wife knows everything about me, every single tiny thing. I don't know. I'm gonna say like a middle school kiss, maybe. I mean, I remember like maybe like my middle school girlfriend. I mean, I remember her name was Carol, and she was like Indian and Mexican mix, I think. Was what was like gives you a description of her. But yeah, I mean, we're just all friends and stuff. I want to say that's like that would be the first one that I remember. But I mean, I'm pretty sure, like I said, there's stories going around that I've heard since I was a kid, and that was I was kissing kids in preschool, kissing girls in preschool. So
Right. I mean, yeah.
Actual kiss was.
Yeah, I guess I meant more the memorable, because I'm assuming, everybody has probably kissed. I mean, it's kids and stuff. You kind of just experiment. I feel like in kissing other kids at times, but I just meant that memorable one or whatever. That one.
Right.
But so then okay, so maybe we can go into it this then. So do you remember the first time you fell in love? Did you ever fall in love before your current wife?
Yeah, that was my ex-girlfriend. Yep. So
do you remember like when it started to feel serious?
She's working on her discussion, and she looks over at me, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna talk about it. So I do.
Dude, I can't help it. You know me. I'm like I go in like, I don't know why. I'm more interested in that. Okay, okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm open to whatever. I mean, like I said, I said like the last time, man, I'm an open book, my dude. There's anything you can ask me that I would not be afraid to answer, or I would be afraid to answer. All right. So yeah, so diving into the Morgan era is what I like to call it.
Yeah, and you don't have to explain wait, hold on. And let me interject for just 1 second. I mean, maybe people in the chat are interested, but but like, we don't need the whole story of your relationship with that girl. I'm more interested in like, do you remember, like, what was it like falling in love for the first time? What do you remember about that feeling? Or, I'm more interested in that side of it personally. So, but you can go into it however you want to answer it. But so you know.
So to answer your question directly, I mean, it's a little bit easier, but like, to answer and more focused, to answer your question directly, I would say, it was very interesting, because what ended up happening was my self-absorbed, thoughts and my, survival, I guess I would try to say, like, my survival thoughts and instincts was more focused on somebody else, and that somebody else being her at the time. And so that's kind of what drove me to you know, like falling in love, I guess is what I would say. You know what I mean? It was one of those things where, I spent a good amount of time with her and hanging out with her, like through friends and stuff. And then it just became more of I wonder what they're doing or what they like. And that kind of stuff. And that's kind of how I just, started to really dive into the whole love aspect of things. And then I don't know. I mean, like, I think it had to do with, like I said, the straight and narrow, just literally the house with the white picket fence, like everything, like just played out, according, both of her parents, worked, both of her parents had jobs, the stability, I guess, I think it was also another attraction, is that, I found that person at the time, that had that stability that I never had in my life. And I think that aided in, the whole relationship experience. And then, not only that too, I was in high school, I was in ninth grade in high school. That was kind of like the first time, that I ever really felt that way towards somebody, and the serious time that I felt with somebody. I had girlfriends all through like middle school and stuff, but it was like, we're going to go to the movies a few times, we're going to go to the skating rink, which used to be a thing, by the way.
I remember.
Things like that, but it never really got to the point where it was serious, it would last a few months, and it would be, over with, versus like ninth grade was more of like, I can talk about my life, I could talk about my experiences, I could really, tell people and, or develop, the relationship with that person. And so that's pretty much how it manifests. And then the one thing I will say before we leave off of this topic, if you want, or maybe if you are, maybe do you have another question when it comes to this same relationship experience? Or
no, the only thing I would add is just the second part to that question, which was, do you remember that moment, like where you thought to yourself, like, oh my God, this is love. I love this girl. Do you have that memory at all or no? Like, do you remember, like, were you doing something? Did anything happen? Were you like looking at her and you had that? Or
no.
I will say I was gonna say I don't necessarily either, but I was just curious if you did.
No. So no, I don't think that happened with Morgan, my first girlfriend, in high school. That definitely happened with my wife. So,
well, we're gonna go into your wife here in 1 second.
Yeah. I know. I figured.
Jump.
But so before we leave this situation, do you want to know what happened to that relationship? Is that part of the question, or do you not want?
Dude, this is your thing, so you can answer whatever you want. That wasn't one of my questions, but feel free, man.
Oh, okay. Well, I just didn't know. So basically, long story short, to add a happy ending to this, so I met a friend. He was from the military. He was in the Marine Corps. I met a friend through Morgan's sister at the time. And which was older, by the way, and I met him through her. Her sister and him were kind of dating at the time, a little bit, trying to date, getting to know each other for the most part. But I got to be really good friends with him. His name was John. And then, by the way, these aren't fake names, just anybody listening. But anyways, so John, at the time, we became really good friends. And then we were hanging out. I don't even know. And all of a sudden, one night I'm laying in bed. Me and Morgan lived together. We were in our freshman year in college. We were living together. And she told me one night that she just didn't feel the same way. And it was at like, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night or something. We're laying in bed. It threw me for a loop because it was completely unexpected, right? Like I didn't expect it. So I then spent an entire 6 months to a year pretty much trying to rekindle that flame, right? I eventually ended up staying and sleeping on the couch, or sleeping in the bedroom. I would, give her flowers. I was literally trying to rekindle the flame as much as possible, trying to figure out what was going on or why it was lost for her. And then I pretty much got to the point where I would ask her, all the time, is there anybody else? How does she feel? Yada, yada, yada. Come to find out, I'm at home one day. John shows up out of the blue. No invitation, which wasn't like him, but he shows up out of the blue. And then he basically asked me or tells me that he's got to tell me something. He pulls up on his phone, messages back and forth between him and Morgan on Facebook, and then basically explains to me that, she's been seeing him and, all this stuff, you know what I mean? And here I am, talking to a ex-Marine that's not gonna. It's just I told him to get the fuck out of my house, but that was the extent of it because I probably couldn't have kicked his ass.
Fair
But,
enough.
but long story short, that was the end of that relationship. And then there's actually a really cool side of that story that worked out in my benefit. And that was going to be, she told her parents that we just agreed to mutually separate, that she didn't, there was nothing like that foul play. And then her dad was messaging me because we were really, really close. I had already asked her dad for permission to marry her, to be honest with you. And then so things were really, really serious. And then at that point, I explained to her dad what the actual truth was about the situation. She came to collect her things or to split everything in the apartment together. And then her dad shut her down and pretty much told her, no, I keep everything. She fucked up and she's to basically start over on her own. So she went to go live back at home and I got to keep everything. And then, yeah. So anyways, next question. Let's go. I saw Alex post.
Hokage says, you have a story. Do you have a story like Derek with some older chick coming on to you?
No, nope. I don't have any story like that with any older chicks. I always used to have a thing for older chicks.
You know, don't be too jealous. Just don't be too jealous, Kadacians.
I know, right? I know. No, I mean, no, realistically though, I've always had a thing for older chicks. I don't know why, but cougars for whatever reason used to be like the thing for me all growing up. And so no, but is ever have an experience with one? No, never have. I've got friends who have had experiences like Derek, but yeah.
Alex says, since when do you and your wife live together? But we're about to go into your wife right now, and I think you're going to tell us all that. So let me frame it kind of going into it, because before I want to know about when you and your wife live together, I want to know, how did you meet your wife, your current wife?
Yep. So that's a cool story too. So basically, so me and my ex-girlfriend separated. We were separated for almost about a year. I dated a couple people in between here and there, one night stands, yada, 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 the boring shit. Basically, did some drugs and then, drank and shit a lot in between that time period. But basically, I called my dad up, who I used to come up, like I said earlier in the podcast, I used to come up once a year, through the summer with him. So I called him up. It's like right before summer hit. And I basically said, look, I'm working 2 part-time jobs. I'm going to college. And I basically said, I just want to come up. I want to get away for a little bit. I want to stay the entire summer. Right. My stepsister was in college. My middle sister was, I believe, high school. Yeah, she was high school. High school. And then my younger sister obviously was in middle school or whatever. But what I ended up doing was I ended up deciding to come up for the summer. So I had to quit my 2 part-time jobs, right? Because there's no way they were going to give me, vacation for like 4 months or 3 months out of the year. So I quit my part-time jobs, waited a month, summer hit, ended up, coming and visiting my dad up here. So I stayed here. Well, when I got here, or prior to coming up here, I was talking back and forth to my stepsister who was in college, right? And she knew all about the situation with me and my ex-girlfriend, and her roommate at the time, lo and behold, was my wife. And so what ended up happening was through like I don't even know what it was, Skype. I think it was Skype was the big thing then. I don't think Zoom was around. But through Skype, we were Skyping back and forth between me and my stepsister a lot when she was at college, and I was talking to Allie through the Skype calls. Well, then it got to the point where I slid into Allie's DMs, I'm really spicing this up, making it juicy. So I slid into Allie's DMs, through like, Skype and stuff, just talking, adding her on Facebook, then I started talking to her on Facebook. And then, one thing led to another where we were doing private Skype calls, just me and her talking, all the time. And no shit, dude, there was times where we were on a Skype call. And by the way, we're both in Iowa, at this point. She's at college, at the college dorms, living there for the summer or at home. And I'm living at my parents' house, which were like 2 hours apart. But, basically, that's how I met her. We were doing Skype calls back and forth pretty much all summer long. And then we finally hooked up, throughout the summer, met, in person, that kind of shit, talking, hung out a whole bunch before college started up. And then that's basically what led me to want to move to Iowa. So at the end of that summer, I decided, I was talking to my dad, things were hitting off really, really well with me and Allie. We weren't dating at the time or anything, but I basically decided, if I want to try to see what's there. You know what I mean? And not only that, I was just done where I was. You know, I wanted to officially pack up all of my stuff, you know, and just be done in the city that I lived in. I had all the same friends as my ex-girlfriend. We did all the same stuff together. I mean, I went to the same church as her, you know, so I seen her all the time, and everything just reminded me of that same situation. So it just wasn't good. And like I said, so I just needed a redo basically. So my dad sent me home, told me to, if that was what I wanted to do, to pack up all of my shit that I could fit in a S10 truck with the tonneau cover on, and then sell everything else. So in 2 weeks, I sold everything in my apartment. I believe at one point I had pictures still in frames on walls that people were just buying from me. They would show up, and I was like, I just put my whole apartment for sale on Facebook and then Craigslist at the time. And then people just showed up, and people were just buying whatever. I was like, they were like, what about these picture frames? $5. Okay, what about this silverware? Yep, $2. Like, you know, I mean, whatever. And I sold everything that I didn't need or that I couldn't fit in my truck. And then my dad came down on a Friday night. No shit. He worked throughout the week, came down on a Friday night. I picked him up at the airport in my S10 truck that had no AC in the middle of the fucking end of the summer. I picked him up at the airport. He got in the truck. He used to drive truck years ago, so he was fine driving. He drove us overnight, 18 and a half hours to Iowa. And and then I've been here since.
And how long ago was that?
Oh, fuck. 2012?
2012.
13.
Okay.
2013. Sorry, the wife just corrected me. She knows better than I do.
Okay. And you know, we could go into the dating life and all that. I mean, I don't mind if chat wants to know that, they can. I'm more interested kind of, you know, particularly I'm not interested in all the, you know, the dirty details of you guys dating, but I'm more interested in, like, you know, was there a moment, or when was the moment when you realized that you wanted to marry Allie?
Yeah. So I would say communication is what did it for us. So like when I met Allie, she came out of being in a relationship with a person that she had dated on and off, you know, throughout her entire high school. You know, and I, for the lack of better words, I think it was just a dead end relationship. Really good person on both ends for them. But you know, she came out of being in that relationship, you know, multiple times, and then she had a little bit of fun in college. You know, her freshman year, just with randoms and that kind of thing. And then basically, I think when we met, it was weird because at the time we were, you know, not freshmen, sophomores. We were sophomore in college. And we basically, it's weird because a lot of sophomores you would think, you know, don't really have or make up their mind at that point. But when we met, we pretty much just spilled everything. I mean, we would spend, I mean, so many hours, you know, like, you know, there were so many times we parked my truck in the bed with just staring at the stars. It's going to sound totally fairy tale shit, but like, you know, at her parents' farm, you know, I mean, you know, sitting in the back of the truck, you know, just looking outside at the stars, you know, all fucking night long. I mean, you know, for like 4 hours, you know, I mean, just talking about anything about life. You know, then, I mean, there was times where we would spend so much time in my dorm room, just literally, we did nothing. We would like lay on the bed together, hang out, talk and BS for just hours. We would Skype for hours if we weren't together. I mean, we literally had so much communication that I think we both just really knew what we wanted. Does that make sense? Which sounds crazy, but like, you know, we just really knew what we wanted, to the point to where, we just, I mean, what we wanted, we expected it. And then, you know, we settled up with that. Does that make sense? Like, it's kind of hard to explain, but, you know, we both knew each other inside and out. And then we basically just knew that that was that person for us. You know, we were like, look, you know, I mean, like this is what we're doing. We were friends for the longest time. We decided to do the dating game for a while. You know, the spark of dating was obviously there. But I mean, yeah, I think realistic, it was just, you know, really the communication. It came down to the communication, and then it came down to, I would say, we were in our apartment. We lived in an apartment together. Yes, if anybody's listening who doesn't know or wants to know, we were living together prior to ever getting married or anything like that. I'm a firm believer on that. But anyways, we were living together. At the time, I loved her parents. Her parents, you know, really liked me. And then I don't know. I mean, we were working the same part-time job together at a place, as we were both going through college. And I knew, I don't know. I just kind of knew. It's kind of weird. But my grandpa always told me when I was a kid that, you know, you would know when it's the right one. I mean, you just know, and that you can't really explain it. But that's pretty much how it happened. I mean, I just knew. I just was like, I'm like, I've been with this girl for, so many, a couple of years now. You know what I mean? Like, I love everything about her. I can't stop thinking about her. I mean, there's nothing that I do outside of, us that I don't think about the other person. You know what I mean? And I think that was just pretty much what drove me to be like, nope, now's the time. It was like, nope, I think that, I just gonna go ahead and buy a ring, and propose to her, and do it that way. And by the way, when I proposed to her, if you are curious, I went back home. So she's never seen the ocean. She's been in Iowa her entire life. We got on a plane, took a vacation to Virginia Beach, Virginia. And then so I hit her all at one time with the big shebang. So we showed up. She saw the ocean for the very first time. I had my family members already there set up with signs, that were laying in the sand. They held up, huge for everybody on the beach to see it. And then I pretty much got down on one knee and proposed to her. So I just hit her all in one big shebang. So she was so taken in by the ocean, and I proposed at the same time. So perfect.
So you tricked her by already getting her emotions high. That way you knew. That was my next question. Was how did you propose? But you just answered that. So we'll jump to Alex's question, because this will kind of lead into your more family life, and then I'll have like one or two more questions for that. But real quick, before we jump into Alex's question, Aiden asked one question that I'll just let you answer real quick, because I think it's pretty quick. He just says, "When are you going to live stream again, Codations?"
Aiden, I am trying to develop a schedule for live streaming at least once a week. That's kind of what my goal is currently right now. It potentially won't always be only Skylanders content, but that's pretty much what I'm trying to work towards. So just bear with me. I'll eventually come out. If you're in the Discord, Aiden, then stay tuned. I'll be posting some stuff as soon as I figure something out, or at least when I go live, it'll always be posted there. So.
All right. And Alex says, was having a child part of the early plan? And how many children do you have? Or does this plan have? So I guess it could also be, how many do you plan on having going forward?
So me and the wife, I think this is common with a lot of people, but so me and the wife, we decided that we at least wanted 1 year together, married, prior to having a child. So we did get that wish. And we had always talked about that we wanted 2 or at least one of each. Okay. At least. So we wanted 1 boy and 1 girl. Right. So our plan, or the plan now, is
like, you can have a plan.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You can't, but so our plan, our verbal plan, right? The one that is, wrote down in pencil, that's half erased, is, we have had a son. So our plan is we're going to have another child. And our plan right now, she just started grad school to do her master's. So our plan is we're trying to get her through that. And then once she finishes that, then we'll potentially talk about, trying again, have a second child potentially. And with that being the case, if this is our plan again, if it's a female or a girl, then we'll probably be done at that point. We'll just stick with 2 children. If it's not, if it's a boy, then we have both agreed that we will continue one more time, for a 3rd child. And then, what we get, we get. Our first pregnancy, with our son Cohen, by the way, that's how you pronounce it. Cohen, Kohen. Anyways, with him, we didn't find out the sex whatsoever her entire pregnancy. So we were super pumped up, and excited in the room when he was actually born. Our doctor, holds up the baby and is like, it's a. And then, I'm the one who was like, it's a boy, so it was cool. And we're not going to find out about the other 2 either. I mean, we enjoyed every moment of the not finding out part. So that was cool. But that, I guess that hopefully that answers the question a little bit, but yeah, that's the short-term answer.
And just quick question to that is, and how old is your son currently? I don't think you said that.
So he is it the 8?
I don't feel as bad now.
Well, he said, well, so here's the thing. So I know he's 8 months, but I was like looking at the date. I'm like 124. I'm like, well, the 15th would have been his 8-month mark, I believe. So yeah, so he's a little over 8 months, but yeah. And then obviously she's sitting here too, so I can confirm with her.
Right. Princess says, "Oh shit, I'm sorry, Lav Mazov. I've been trying to hook up the Wi-Fi to my phone. I forgot my password, Discord and Twitch. Welcome, Princess. We're just glad you're here, my dear." All right, so going then back. Okay, so I think that kind of answers. I won't dig too much into your kid's life, just because I don't know. I don't know how good it
It's
is for a
8
bunch
months
of
worth. It's 8 months
kids.
worth.
Yeah. We're not diving in. What was your kid's first? No. Okay. So, but what I do have going back to your wife is two
Yep,
more
go ahead.
kind of questions about the relationship, and then we'll probably move on from there a little bit into work
Okay.
if you're down with that. So,
down with whatever, my
what do
man.
you love most about your wife?
What do I love most about her?
Yep.
Oh shit! She just put her elbow down on the desk, staring at me here. What do I love most about her? Do we want funny, or are we being serious? And where we want physical, or do we want?
I'm being serious. But you can answer. It's your way to answer it, dude. So any way you want to answer, man. You can do
So I'll
funny.
answer it both ways. So I'll answer it both ways. Physically, her titties, 100%. I'm a tits guy. Everybody knows that in this stream. But seriously, all seriousness, I would say that I really like the fact that she's very strong-willed, and then can be stubborn at times, but she's very, very good about sticking to her morals or morale, whatever you want to say, but her morals. And she does a very, very good job about trying to what's the word? Not instill them, but she tries to no, I don't fucking know what the word is. She does a very good job at making her case, when it comes to her being strong-willed, or her standing her ground on on that sort of aspect of things. But it's not just like towards me. I'm trying to say, like across the board, like she's very, very, she's very, very good about that. And I think that's really something that I really admire. And then not only that, like her dedication overall. I think she is, when she puts her mind to do something, she's very dedicated to doing it. Even if that does lead to her getting super frustrated, by the way, trying to put something together, sometimes just doesn't work. But for the most part, I would say that's probably one of the number one things that I admire about her is her dedication and her follow through. She makes sure that she follows through on everything like that she puts her mind to. So.
Okay.
And then joking one, like, yeah, like I said, Alex said in the chat, yeah, titties for sure, 100%. Big old bitties, baby. Oh yeah, and she's not an alien, by the way. If anybody's from Derek's stream.
Okay, I guess this lagged out for a minute. What did I miss? He was answering the question of what he loved most about his wife. Alex says he's trying to be nice about his wife, but she's got a gun to his head. Laugh my ass off. Hokage says vagina.
Vagina.
That is probably what he loves most. No? Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I still feel like I'd go back to boobies. I mean, for real. If I had to be honest with you, yeah. I mean, whatever reason, titty fucking is just the way to go. I mean, I don't know. Anyways, continue.
Okay. Moving on from that, then good answers, both of them, the funny one and the serious one. I mean, for me personally, not the titties, but I'm an ass man. But nonetheless, we'll move on and we'll let you have your titties.
Yep.
Okay. So, can you tell me your happiest moment with your wife? Was it well, I don't want to feed into you. I was going to say something, but I think I would know what it would be.
When my son was born.
Okay. Can you maybe share that? Like what you two, I don't know. It might be hard. I don't, do you know what I'm like? Can you maybe share that moment in words? I know that's probably super difficult.
So the question, I don't know.
Let me ask it this way. So do you remember after it was done and the nurses and everybody walked and you and your wife, she's obviously sitting there holding the baby. What did you guys say to each other? What was that next moment? Maybe she was too drugged, but mine wasn't. So that's why I'm asking. I can remember.
No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't either. I would probably say seeing the glow of being a mom with the little one attached, because we breastfed, with the little one attached for the first time, but also for whatever reason, me being able to somewhat piece together stuff for her, because the panic, the anxiety, everything pretty much just kicked in, and was overwhelming. It was our first child. So, we've never experienced anything like that before. And quite frankly, I don't think anybody anybody is probably fucking ready for that. I mean, you know what I mean? And the level of responsibility. I mean, you know, you're overwhelmed with everything. She already has really high anxiety, you know, like on a day-to-day basis, you know what I mean? Like in real, you know, in regular life. So, I mean, bringing something like that in, just made it, you know, tenfold. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and just trying to basically be there in the moment. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's absolutely insane. I would say like to try to sum it up. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I want to say like from the crazy doubt and height of the moment and all of that adrenaline and all that excitement was fantastic when our son was born. But the crazy part of childbirth that they don't tell you, especially for first moms or first parents in general, is when they leave the room. I mean, at least for us anyway, it was, you know, by the way, anybody who doesn't know, I never disclosed this to anybody on the stream, I'm assuming. We actually had a miscarriage first. So we carried, what week did we get to? I don't even remember. Huh? 9 weeks. And we were super pumped up, you know, about it. We had tried for a little bit and we didn't have any troubles trying, just, you know, for anybody out there, FYI, we were fine. But we ended up having a child, carried for 9 weeks, was super excited, just had told people at the 8 week mark, went in for our appointment. The child, there was no heartbeat there. So we went through that already. And then so having this one, you know, we were super like cautious the entire pregnancy, you know, so a lot of the excitement was taken out of it, which is really sad if you think about it. We weren't excited a lot about it. We were more cautious and more worried and more nervous and more stressed the entire time. And so with that being the case, you know, once we got over that hump and we actually brought him into the world with, I mean, thank the Lord, you know, no issues, no nothing. I think what really set in was the reality that now we are responsible for a life. You know what I mean? And not only that, you know what I mean, you know, me really not fully understanding, but yet somehow able to piece together the words and the encouragement that I needed to give to my wife at that moment in that room by ourselves was insane. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. It was crazy.
Very cool.
But anyway, so continue.
Alex said we had 3 miscarried. I don't know how to say that term. And he said
Yeah,
it's so
that's perfect.
heartbreaking. Yeah, that is
That's
perfect.
crazy,
And
man.
sorry to
Yeah,
hear
dude.
that, Alex. That is horrible. And sorry to you, Cardations, as well. That's definitely
Yeah,
something
no
that
worries.
sucks. And and you might have just answered this, but I'm still gonna ask it just
Yep,
to
go
ask
ahead.
it. But just like I did with the other one, I kind of did the flip flop. So,
Yep.
what's the most difficult moment you and your wife have ever had together? We did the best, which was your son being born.
Um,
And again, maybe it's that miscarriage, but I still want to pose it to you. What is
I
the
would
most
probably say,
difficult moment
yeah,
you've had?
yeah, I would probably say the most difficult moment for us. Well, there's two of them. One of them would be that miscarriage, 100%. That was, I mean, that was insanely tough to get through, especially with somebody who already deals with anxiety and a little bit of depression. I mean, it's very, very, very fucking tough. Um, but I would say the second portion of that, another difficult thing for us, would be also that same aspect of anxiety and depression, and me not really understanding that. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And that has posed, in the beginning of our marriage, it has posed a lot of challenges, because I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't educated in, you know, in that realm. Do you know what I mean? You know, and I really didn't understand it a whole lot. You know what I mean? Until I really dove into it and started working with her and started learning some things. You know what I mean? You know, and then, you know, going to like a, I mean, like a therapy session. I mean, you know, something like that. You know what I mean? And really understanding it. I think that's what really, you know, helped us out. Do you know what I mean? But I think those two would probably be the biggest challenges that we've ever, you know what I mean, that we've ever went through. I mean, the miscarriage was really tough, more so on me trying to, you know, pull us through. You know what I mean? On that realm, and then the other realm of just my mistake of not putting in, you know what I mean, the work and the effort to really understand it, and instead, you know, me being, you know, short fused. I mean, cutting, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard to explain, but like clashing, you know, in that term, you know, she's high on anxiety. I mean, she's, you know, panicking, she's freaking out, and me on the other end trying to just dismiss it, you know what I mean? Just as a, a recipe for disaster, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, it was interesting, but Those would be the two challenging parts, I would feel like.
Okay.
What do we got in the chat? I feel like people are posting shit in the chat. What do we got in here?
Yeah, no big questions. A lot of it was the memeing
Okay.
about the Hokage says, I can't even pronounce it then. Vagina, not vagina. He said I was memeing. Alex says, well, you talk about and then Aiden says, do you believe in Santa Claus? Alex says, no, it's fine. We have 2 healthy daughters now, so it's past. And he says, let's go to a more funny question. What's the best prank you ever did to your wife? He just asked.
Oh God. My question is, what is the best prank that I've ever done to you? And I can't fucking think of a single prank.
You don't prank.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
You're not a pranker?
The truth. Yeah, the truth is, Alex, I'm not a pranker. My wife is the pranker. She.
All right, so let's flip it. What's the
craziest
best
shit.
prank she's done to you?
Oh God, the best prank she's ever done to me.
Or at least a memorable one.
Well, there's so many. I mean, she's fucking constantly full of shit all the time. She comes up with new shit constantly. She can't keep a secret. Yeah, probably that one. I was thinking, yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm kind of come up with some of them. I mean, we're discussing a few of them. Like one. Yeah, I mean, she's scared me before. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I guess one of them probably would be like, I'm absolutely petrified of dolls, like baby dolls. Like I'm fucking freaked out about baby dolls, like hardcore. Like I'm talking about like now I can see one, that's not a big deal, but like for whatever reason, like dolls just freak the shit out of me. And so she has this baby, like this baby doll. It's like called Mr. Tumbles or Miss, whatever the fuck is it? Tumbles? Baby Tumbles? Yeah, whatever the hell it's called. Anyways, it's a long term, like, you know, baby doll or whatever. But anyways, she would always hide this fucking thing around the house all the time. Like I would open up the closet and I'd see this thing randomly and I'd fucking jump and freak out. And I'm like, go get that fucking baby doll out of the closet. I'm not going in there, you know, shit like that. But I don't know. I mean, besides like throwing water and stuff, you know, I mean, like I'll be in the shower or something and she'd wait till I like turn the shower off and then she'd come in there with like ice cold water and fucking sling it on me. I don't know. She's always full of fucking pranks. The problem is though, is like she can't keep a secret or like a surprise prank, right? Like she, for too long, I guess I should say, like she tries to surprise me, but like catch me off guard. But she's very much a I just want to see it happen and play out right now, you know, kind of person. So she ends up telling on herself, you know, because I end up, you know, catching her. She ends up telling on herself though. But
all right. Obviously, I missed that question. I do apologize. I had to step off for just 1 second.
Yeah,
but the chat got your answer to the prank.
Yep.
Alex says if she's devil with you, if so, blink twice. Okay, one last question then about relationships, and then we'll move on to kind of work, if that's okay, like kind of work life stuff. And a little bit about YouTube and all that. So just, you know, I always like to try to think of, you know, even with my own content, I always, you know, I do a lot of tutorials. So I'm always trying to think of how to help other people. And I know we got some younger people in the chat. Like I can tell Aiden's a pretty young guy. So one last question, then kind of moving away from relationships, just with, you know, going through relationships kind of as a, you know, not that you're an old guy yet or anything, but you know, everything you've learned about love, about relationships, if you kind of had to offer a little bit of advice or wisdom to kind of pass on, what would you say to someone like maybe Aiden, just to give you know, I'm just using him as an example to kind of get your mind thinking of like, I'm talking to a younger guy. Here's what I would share about relationships.
Yep. So, so I mean, I look at it a little bit differently. I don't know if everybody looks at it this way, but my word of advice, if I was going to give advice on relationships, my personal advice from my experiences is going to be 2 things. One, if it has to be forced, if you are forcing for things to happen, or you are, you know, working your ass off to make something happen, but yet it's not being done back in return, then I personally 100% don't believe that it's meant to be. And then the second one, kind of it's not counterintuitive to that, but it plays in the same line, and that's going to be, I do not believe in love at first sight. And I do not believe in, you know, this thing just doing this thing. I think that a relationship and true love and marriage and everything else is a full-time job. I think it requires both parties to be putting in the same amount of effort, the same amount of work, same amount of time. And as my advice to a person listening, aka Aiden in this case, I believe on my last stream he said he was 14. Just putting that out there. And with that being the case, my best advice would be just know that if you go into a relationship, I think it's only fair for both parties to put in as much effort as possible, and then expect effort, being put in on the other party. And if it's not, then try to realize it as soon as possible, that it's just not meant to be, in my opinion. And it's not going to just do it itself. Does that make sense?
Yep, sure. Yep. Okay.
So.
Aiden says, how long is the stream going to be? The streams go as long. We don't really have time limits. They go anywhere from short end 2 hours, long end we've done like up to 4 hours. So feel free to check out whenever you want to. I don't mean but I'm just saying you won't hurt our feelings if you got to go or something. Hokage says Codations is drinking air. LOL. What do you?
Yep. You know what it is?
It's
a sponsor. It's a sponsor thing.
Because of his.
Can't show the logos.
Yeah, we had to block out the logos. I forgot you had on mine because I'm looking at you and I just see the actual green screen and the green can. And Aiden says, since we're moving away, maybe time for a fun question. He says, do you like cheese balls and chips?
Oh, hell yeah. I like both of them, dude. Cheese balls are really, really good.
Dude, you ever get like the giant tub like this? I've literally killed one of those entire.
Oh, you're talking about cheese balls that way. I'm talking about cheese balls, like cheddar cheese inside of like breaded, you know what I mean? Like cheese balls fried. You're talking about like.
You're talking about mozzarella sticks?
Yeah, but you don't know what cheese balls are?
Yeah, I guess. I like cheese curds.
Okay, sure. Cheese curds, fine. Fucking whatever you want to call them. Cheese curds, cheese balls, fucking whatever. Mozzarella sticks are just a stick version of them, but basically.
I don't know what kind of cheese balls he was talking about. I was thinking of like the cheese balls that you get in like the big
both.
container.
I like both. We'll just
chalk
it up to both of them. I like the big giant container. I don't buy the container because I will devour the entire container probably in one sitting because they're so good and addicting. And then the same thing goes for like the actual fried ones. Me and the wife love cheese balls. That's like my side of choice for fried foods. If we're getting something, like a burger or something from a place, I'm always trying to substitute for cheese balls or cheese curds if they have it. So
sounds like my wife. Alex says, what are you guys drinking? Go ahead, Codations. What you drinking in that can that they can't see? I am
currently drinking sparkling ice, which is basically flavored water with no sugar, nothing like that, but it's got caffeine in it. So I'm drinking the caffeine version of that. So it's sparkling ice and then with caffeine. I don't know if I can show that on
They can't see shit, dude. Nope.
It's gonna blow it out. Yeah, I figured it was gonna blow it out. Yep.
Since you said
censoring it for us.
Since you said you guys, I am also drinking sparkling water. Strawberry cucumber. No sweeteners, no sodium. Half of it's invisible. It's green and red. So the cucumber part you can't see.
Dude,
but yeah, I just drink water.
You always hit up the stream, dude, with some like crazy shit that I've never tried before. What was the one you had that one time? Bubbly. You had you always have like some crazy ones that I've never tried before.
I drink any and all sparkling waters. So if it's sparkling water, I like it normally. And I'm the type of person I like, keeping things. One of the ways I found to like stay like drinking water is change it up. So different flavors and stuff. So
yep.
I grab any kind that sound appealing to me, any brands, and just try them all to kind of keep that.
Yeah. The wife and I found these ones. Like I said, sparkling ice is the brand. Obviously, like I said, it's with antioxidants and vitamins, no sugar, no nothing like that. But it basically has caffeine in it. That's why we like these ones. And they're from our local store. I don't know if they're like a local brand or not, but they're I don't know. I think they're like 98 cents or something for 16 ounces. So it's like dirt cheap, and they've got like 7 flavors. So we pretty much just buy those. And I think the caffeine isn't high either. It's only like 90 milligrams of caffeine. So it's not very high as far as for like actual, drink that you drink. But anyways.
Right. Hokage says, I'm like that with Oreos and somehow I don't ever gain weight. Must not be old enough yet. Aiden says, do you know who FGTEEV is? I don't, but I'm assuming
I do not. Nope.
And then Hokage says, Carbonated melon milk. I don't know what he means by that, but Aiden says, "What's your favorite food in the world?" I think you asked that, and I think you said pizza, right? Didn't you say pizza?
Yep, pizza.
Okay.
Yeah, pizza 100%. Yeah, pizza's my favorite overall. Doesn't matter what kind of pizza, what flavor of pizza, deep dish, thin crust, hand tossed, doesn't matter. I'll eat it. Even homemade pizza. I mean, I just like pizza in general. It's probably my favorite thing. It's a healthy for you, but it's good.
Okay. Moving in, and again, you guys feel free to keep asking questions. I'll read them as I see them. You know, I know sometimes it takes me a minute if he's answering one, you know, to get to it. But I think I've been doing a good job at pulling, I think, almost every question out.
Yep.
If I do miss one and it's been a real long time, feel free to ask it. Like if you see me read somebody else's that was asked after yours and I missed it, feel free to ask again. But I think I'm doing a pretty decent job. Okay. So, first, what do you do, man? What is your current job? I know you said you were trying to become a content creator, but what do you currently do?
So currently right now for the past well, no, that was at this current job. Currently right now, since I got out of college here, I have been playing. Geez Louise, I just read that video game comment. Okay. I am a graphic designer. So that's what I majored in college, was graphic design. So I currently, for the past 3.5 years, I'm about to start my fourth year, coming up in February, but I have been working for a company that does industrial steel and fabrication work. They basically build the machines, and conveyor belts and tumblers and just everything that is in a packing house or whatever you want to call it. So like the Tyson food plants, National Beef plants, JBS, you know, just a bunch of big facilities like that process like cows and pigs and chickens and stuff. They basically make, like, the company that I work for is a one-stop shop for everything. So we will blueprint the items, make the items, fabricate the items, send teams to install the items in those, you know, those facilities, and all that. So what my job is, I don't have anything to do with designing any of that. My job is I make marketing materials for that company to take into like CEOs and CFOs for these companies. So for instance, a project manager will come to me, or a sales guy would come to me and say, hey, the Tyson Foods is looking to buy 12 of our vat dumpers, for instance. I know I'm speaking gibberish to some people, but basically it's like a big column dumper that just raises product from the ground to the top, that dumps it onto something else. And they, you know, he'll say, I'm selling these items. I've got a meeting coming up with the CEO or whatever. What information do you have on the column dumper, for instance, or the vat dumper? And then that would be where I would pull up, like, okay, I made this brochure before. Is this something that you want? I made this flyer. I've got, you know, these images. I've got this video footage, you know, that kind of sort of stuff. And then, you know, they tell me what they want. You know, sometimes it's, you know, it's me just creating that stuff all day long, you know, for different projects or different scenarios. Sometimes it's me going out and taking pictures of new stuff. So like if the shop, for instance, has built something new. Last week I had a new what they call like a guard gate, which basically just goes around like an area to enclose it, and keep, you know, and block it off from people like in the plant. So they wanted me to go out there and take pictures for that. So basically I go out there, I use my camera, I take pictures of everything, you know, all of it, bring them back inside, edit them, you know, put them in Lightroom, you know, all that shit, you know. So I do a lot of photo manipulation. That's what I currently do. I have then recently, I want to say within the last year, took on the role of IT as well. So I do a lot of IT stuff. I mean, recently here, I've been doing a lot of like server management, Active Directory, you know, Office 365 setups, you know, new computer setups. When we buy new computers, I've been tasked, you know, a lot of times to seek out the most local deal. My company likes to buy local to keep it local. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of all over the place currently right now when it comes to that stuff. But since I've got out of college, I've been doing graphic design. So, I mean, I worked for a photographer for a little over a year. I was her photographer's assistant. So I learned a lot of like photography stuff with her. I made a lot of the wedding invitations, grad invites, you know, that sort of thing. Did a lot of like photo shoots and stuff with her as a second shooter. A lot of boudoir sessions, by the way. Just letting you know, and of local women, by the way. And then the second job I had was a local startup company. It was a massive shithole. Let me just put it that way. But I thought it would be fun to transition into doing graphic design work for a local startup company. It was called Big Frig at the time. I still think they're really tiny. I don't think a lot of people know them outside of here, but it's basically a competitor to Yeti and Arctic. So what happened was this guy, he decided, the owner of the company decided he wanted to buy Yeti cups for all of his employees, reached out to Yeti corporate, said, hey, I want to buy 50 cups or 50 tumblers from you, whatever. I want to put our logo on them, that sort of thing. Yeti basically told him to go to his local Walmart and buy them, and off the shelf. And he said, no, I want to buy in bulk. Long story short, this isn't part of the story, but long story short, he started a company, just started buying them from China, the same, manufacturer that sells Yeti cups. He just basically, found a manufacturer over there, bought them from their wholesale. He had enough popularity from people interested in it that he decided to make it an actual business. So he grew this business up. When I came along, the business was 2 years old or a year old. And then they needed me because they had bought laser engravers and they needed photo manipulation. So people, businesses that were buying 24 or 50 or 300 cups, for their business to hand out to people or to give for sales meetings or whatever, they needed somebody there to manipulate that logo and stuff, to where it could be, then put in a high resolution format to laser on the cups. So I did that for a little over a year or two. And then I actually got fired from that job. That was the first job I ever got fired. Yeah, it was very interesting. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what I've done. I pretty much have done nothing but graphic design my entire life outside of college. So.
Okay. Aiden asks, what's your favorite video game?
Oh, favorite video game? Quite honestly, I don't even know how to answer that. If we're talking, I guess I'll answer it in a couple different parts. The first one would be if we're talking overall video game my entire life.
Have a good night, Okage.
Yeah, Hokage, thanks for tuning in, man. Have a good night, bud. But my favorite video game for my entire life, oh man, I would probably say would be Fable 1. On the original Xbox, not the Xbox 360, the original Xbox. I played Fable 1, and I was really, really happy with that game for whatever reason. I played it, I think, multiple times through, all the way through, and quite frankly, that's a single player game, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, because I don't play single player games much anymore. But I would say that's probably my favorite overall. But my favorite video game right now, or the past couple of years, for whatever reason, even though I'm a mobile gaming content creator on YouTube, my favorite game overall for the past, I want to say 2 years or 3 years, has probably been Ark Survival Evolved. And the reason why I say that is because that's the game that I have, for whatever reason, the most hour and time in. And that's the game that I have spent, for whatever reason, no matter what I'm doing in life, I have always been more than willing to go back and play it with friends. Never solo, of course, but go back and play it with friends. So no matter what game I was playing, no matter what I was doing, if somebody was to contact me and ask me, hey, do you want to play some Ark on a new server, start over from scratch, I would instantly be down. So I don't know why, but that would be probably my favorite currently right now, overall.
Alex says, what's your favorite city in the USA to travel and dream living in?
Oh man. Out of the cities that I have been to, I would say my favorite. I don't know. It's hard because I haven't been to a lot of really, really big ones. What? A city in Canada? Like Ontario or Quebec? No. I would say probably my favorite city in the US that I have personally visited, that I would love to live in, would probably be Charlotte, North Carolina. I would say that's probably been my favorite. I've been to Des Moines, I've been to Minneapolis, I've been to Omaha, I've been to Charlotte, I've been to Virginia Beach. I would probably say that Charlotte's my favorite. Oh, and by the way, I have been, not in the US, but I have been to Ontario as well in Canada. So, and that was cool. But I think Charlotte was probably my favorite. By the way, I'm snacking on popcorn as we're talking.
Yeah. Yeah, and just side note, I've also been to Charlotte, and it is a awesome city. It's one of those. It's old style city, so none of the buildings are super skyscrapers, but it's just really cool, historic. I liked it. It was a really cool city. Okay. One last question about work. I had a couple more, but I'm gonna start, I think, skipping some questions just because, I don't know how long you're wanting to be on or not. But
I'm fine. Let me put it this way. Let me put this way. Since we're already here on live, I'm fine with whatever. So, I mean, I don't have much going on after this. If you want to keep on going for a little bit, maybe if we want to put a timer on it, maybe we just do like 2:30 or not 2:30, like 2 hours and 30 minutes or something. Maybe we can do that. We're currently sitting at 2 hours and 9 minutes on my Twitch page.
yeah,
So,
either way, it doesn't matter to me.
fine.
But I will start skipping some just because,
Yep.
some of them get a little redundant. As I was writing
Yep.
these, I kind of, but anyways, but in one more work, and plus the problem is like I asked you, what do you currently do for a job? And you gave me your whole work history. So you answered a lot of questions that I had
Oh,
in
yeah.
one.
Sorry.
So no, it's fine. I'm just saying. So I think I know the answer to this, but I still want to ask it before moving off of work. If you could do anything for work, what would you do? Again, I know you're trying to become a content creator, and that obviously my first instinct is, oh well, obviously he wants to become a mobile game and content creator. But then I thought it's still interesting, like if you could literally do any job in the world, maybe like go be an astronaut or just something crazy. Is there something different you'd choose, or is mobile game and content creation the dream job?
Nope. Nope. So, mobile content creation is the dream job at my current state in my own world. Yes. No, that's not no, my dream job right now, that like if I could stop what I'm doing today and do whatever other job I want to do, 100% it would be to full time make posters and advertisements for movies.
Oh, very cool. Like
I
the
think that
ones
would
you
be
see in
badass.
theaters and stuff, like the
Correct.
actual
Correct.
now
Correct.
showing type. Yeah,
Yep.
that would be
Yep.
pretty
Yep.
fucking
Well,
cool, man.
all the way across the board. I
Right,
mean,
right.
I'd be willing. I'd be willing to make the like the as you know the now showing movie theaters. Like obviously that would be like the best highlight. But I would even love making like just um other versions of those. To be
Right.
sold in like stores like Spencer's. Or like Walmart. Things like that. Like just posters in general. I think it'd be badass. To be hired on by companies that were just like, hey, dude, we've got this movie coming out. This awesome movie or whatever. You know what I mean? And we just want you to design a poster because that's literally what I do with my thumbnails, like on YouTube. Do you know what I mean? It's just I would have a lot more like, like artistic, like realm going into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thumbnails obviously are more driven to, hey, click on me, versus, being more like, my artwork, but it still fits that digital realm. It still fits the art style. And I've met one person that does it currently right now living or for a living on Twitter. I don't know her in real life. I don't know anything about her. She's an older woman, but I talked to her once or twice about it and asked her, how do I get in the industry? And was talking to her about it. But I mean, it's one of those, those close knit, realms, where basically she just told me that I had to, start doing it on my own, what I mean, just by making them, posting them, advertising them, that kind of shit. So it's just a long-term thing. And I don't think I have the ambition and the drive to actually grind it out. I think I'm just more trying to focus on my immediate dream, which would be just create content full time and, and work from home, basically creating content.
Idea. You should totally, when you're going to start playing a new game on your channel,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
should totally make a movie poster to advertise you get into. Like with like the game in the back. Like imagine Ark Survival and then Codations like put in there running from dinosaurs or something, and like a full-blown fucking movie poster to like say, hey, we're going to be starting this game next week. I don't know. I just feel like that would be the best thing ever.
What would be cool? I think that would be actually pretty damn cool. You know what I mean? Like the sucky part is like, where would I advertise it? Like, how would I?
Twitter.
Like, because
Instagram.
Twitter.
Instagram, probably
okay,
too.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, social media would work. I was thinking more of like if I was going to do that on YouTube, that would be hard because you can't really design that in a thumbnail. But I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, like, so yeah, I could totally do that like on social media. Just instantly be like, boom.
Yeah, to like kind of like, and if you did it like like to kind of leading up, you could have different posters for the same game, and it'd kind of be like promoting it as you go on, and it would be a unique take off just people posting like, I'm gonna be starting this game. Da 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 da. I don't know. I just thought that sounds cool. I would totally think that. Now it might take you a couple times, before people like start. Oh, look at this guy that makes movie posters out of the games he's playing. Like it might take a while to, but I don't know. I don't know. It just sounds cool. Alex says, good idea. Once in 2021, out of the fog comes cookies, evil cookies.
He's referring
Yeah,
to the
I
video
don't.
I'm checking out right now.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Just hot take there. Okay,
It's actually
so
pretty cool though. You know what's gonna be funny? We're gonna be looking back on this one day. We're gonna be like, the 24th, the 2021. You mean we're gonna be looking back on this and we're gonna be like, dude, you remember that one time in the podcast we talked about starting to do this, and then like now look at me. It's like I've got
if you ever need inspiration, I'm planning on playing Subnautica once I'm done with Raft. So if you want to make me one, a movie poster starting Subnautica, feel free, because that sounds legit as fuck.
Yeah, dude,
okay,
sure.
so now my questions kind of just go. They're kind of more random questions I had towards the end, a little bit. I mean, some of them at the very end go back into. At the very end, I have a couple questions about religion, spirituality, God, because you know me. We talked about it on my side a little bit. So, but some of the next ones are more kind of general. So again, anybody in the chat that has any other questions, feel free. But this one first is all right. Is there? This might be a little weird, but I was going. Well, no, I was going to, but then I paused. I think I might skip that one, just because I think I might go back to it. But this one might be a little weird, but I don't know. I thought it was a cool question. I found someone else asked one time in a podcast, to like a friend that type figure that they're. But we might not know each other well enough. But is there something about my beliefs that you don't agree with but still respect? Is there something you've heard in talking about some of my beliefs? I know a couple times in the podcast I've come out with kind of some of my thoughts on especially around spirituality or life in general, or even maybe depression or things like that we've gotten into on the stream. But is there anything that you've heard me say that you don't agree with? But again, I add but still respect at the end.
I guess the only thing that I can say, which again, this is nothing to ever go in detail about, but like the only thing that I can think, again, I could be completely wrong, and if I'm wrong, you can set me straight, but I believe at one point you had made a comment in one of your streams. I believe you used the term you were pro-choice. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. And that would be something that I disagree with at that point. That I respect your decision, that I don't judge you for any reason in that case. But that would be something that I remember you had said at one point.
Okay, good. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was an interesting question.
I pulled that out of my ass. I didn't know I was going to have an answer.
I was surprised as well.
I don't think I have an answer.
I'm surprised as well. It was kind of what I threw. That's why it's at the end, because I was like, that's interesting. I don't. What do you feel? I'm assuming. I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it just. But what do you feel most grateful for in your life?
I mean, obviously my wife and my kid, but I'm trying to think outside of that.
Yeah, I mean that's what I assumed the obvious answers were, but it can be that. I mean, it can be that.
But I don't want to just be, I don't want to give just the obvious. I mean, if we're thinking like in terms of like everything, I'm most grateful for the fact that I was able to make something of myself and not follow in the footsteps of my mom or my dad. I mean, I guess that'd probably be the best thing I could say was, make something for myself out of the situation that I had growing up.
Very cool. Can you remember a time in your life when you felt most alone?
Alone?
Mm-hmm.
Probably my childhood. Going to like, birthday parties, going to school and stuff. You know what I mean? Seeing the other kids, do you know what I mean? And seeing the other relationships that other kids had with their parents that I didn't have. And then how my normal was completely different than their normal. So I would probably say that was probably be the time that I felt the most alone in my life. Was just it's hard to explain because I don't know anybody who has went through the same thing that I have went through. So it's hard to, relate to other people in that aspect. So I just tend to not normally talk about it.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah, makes perfect sense. When was the last time you cried?
The last time?
Yep.
The last time I cried. 8 months ago.
No.
I've cried since then.
You already know your mom.
Yeah, probably an argument with my mom. Oh, just kidding. Nope. She corrected. Christmas. My grandpa sent me a gift card out of the blue for my son for Christmas, for a Christmas gift. He sent me $150 gift card, Visa gift card for my son. And I bawled like a little baby.
Oh, that's nice. That's really
Oh,
sweet.
by the way, yeah, I'm a big ass softie, man. I will cry. I will watch a movie and I will be bawling. I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it happens a lot. I'm not one of those men that believe, that men can't cry. I'm hardcore emotional. I just, it takes certain triggers to actually do something. But yeah, Alex got a serious question. It looks like in the chatter.
Yeah, he says, yep. He says, if you could trade one of your 5 senses for one superpower, what sense would you sacrifice? Can be, and what superpower would you get? Okay. So what sense out of your 5 would you get rid of to gain a superpower, and what superpower would you get?
Yep. So my sense that I would lose would be well, hold on. Sense.
Yep. So eye, seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touch.
Oh. Okay, but so does okay. So I would get rid of my sense of smelling.
Okay.
And then I would instantly gain teleportation.
Nice.
Teleportation is my superpower of choice. I don't give a shit about flying. I don't care about doing anything fast, speed, nothing. Teleportation has always been my favorite. And then Nightcrawler has always been my favorite. Growing up with teleportation. Yeah. So I would say if we're talking senses, then definitely smell. But if we're talking in terms of like hear, speak, no, I know, but I'm saying speak because I would give up the ability to speak because I'm fluent in sign language. And so because I'm fluent in sign language, I would just revert to using sign language to communicate so I can still smell. But it kind of depends, on what you classify as that. If I give up the ability to talk, does that give up the ability to taste? Because if that's the case, then I would go definitely smell.
Well, I don't think speech is a sense. Taste.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Right.
So yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So sense wise, it'd be my nose.
Okay. Okay. That's all the kind of the random questions. Now to end it, it kind of goes into, I got like 4 or 5 more questions and then I'm done. Kind of goes more back into spirituality, and God and that kind of stuff that we kind of did on me a little bit. So I wanted to kind of post some of them to you as well. Alex says though, before we get into that, because those will probably get, a little bit more heavy again, because that's just me. I can't help it. Alex says, wouldn't you be feared of teleporting into a wall, fence, or anything that would slice you in half and instantly die if you had to teleport?
No, because if it depends on what you're basing it off of. If you're basing it off of like superheroes that have the ability to teleport, like the movie Jumper or Nightcrawler or something, the ability to teleport is controlled by where he wants to teleport to. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not worried about teleporting into something wrong. I would basically, I always say I'd have to learn. I'd go through an experience where I have to learn, how to control the ability. But I would definitely take that risk, hands down. If you've ever seen the movie Jumper, the Jumper movie is like $5 now, or the $3 bin probably right now. But I watched that movie so many times, and I'm just super jealous of that guy, dude. The fact that he has the ability to just jump or teleport wherever the hell he wants to go at any given moment is just ridiculously cool.
I agree.
Imagine eating lunch, dude, on top of like the pyramids.
I agree. If I had to, I'm with you, man. That would be that would be my choice. If I could teleport anywhere, me and the wife, again, side note a little bit, I try to, keep it about you, but we've been watching the show on the Sci-Fi Channel. Well, it's on Netflix, but it premieres called The Magicians. And there's there's a guy on there that is I'm like, dude, I'd like to go to different galaxies, different worlds. I'm like, I forget what he's called, but yeah, like I would totally, that would be my 100%.
Yeah, I can't remember what the hell he's called either, but I know what you're talking about.
But
it's
he's
like the Indian guy, right?
Yeah. He's like the only one of his like of that kind that can do that or whatever. And I would totally. I've always loved teleportation. I've always thought that would be the coolest thing to ever actually be invented in real life, to be able to teleport from one location to another. I'm like, make the pads like Star Trek and shit. They beam me up, Scotty. Like that's so fucking cool. All right. Anyways, go ahead.
No, I agree. I agree with you too. But I was gonna say on the side note of superheroes or superpowers, my second favorite superpower, 100% would be to shapeshift. That's my second one. My first one would be teleportation. My second one would be shapeshift. I would love to be able to just be something else instantaneously, at the drop of a hat. Like I would instantly be like, oh, I want to be a dog, boom, right. Oh, a cat, boom. You know what I mean? I would be able to do whatever, whatever. I think shapeshifting would be sweet.
Yeah. I don't follow you on that one, but
What would be your second one? What would be your second one?
I
Because
don't-
we're already talking about it.
teleportation.
No, your first one was teleportation.
Yep. Second one, teleportation.
No, I got to pick something different. What would your second one be?
Nope, because then by some weird chance in the universe, the second one will come true instead of the first one. I ain't doing it. Teleportation. Teleportation or bust.
All right. So on this note, I do want to ask this question before we get into the religious stuff.
Sure.
Just because we are talking back and forth, and this is, we're co-hosting this. Question for you: vampire or werewolf? If you tonight
Vampire.
had to choose, pick
Vampire.
and choose. Okay, but now keep in mind, let me just make sure we clarify it. We're going hardcore books. So, vampire
Twilight?
can't walk throughout the day. Yeah, there is no Twilight shit. Vampires can't walk throughout the day. You know what I mean? You are, basically bound, to the, inside or darkness, all day long.
Yeah, that's fine. I love
Until
the
the
dark.
nighttime.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Perfect. That's funny.
Take it.
Cool. Hell yeah. Well, that's my answer too. I'm a hardcore vampire.
Well, let me ask this. Werewolves don't live forever, do they? They don't have immortality like vampires. Because I take the immortality.
Depends. I don't know. I mean, I guess I've never really looked in their history because I'm a vampire person, but
Okay, so you meant okay.
I think I don't know.
Give me an old creepy castle, living in the dark, only out at nighttime, but I know like I'm invincible and can't die to the craziness of the night. I'm down. All day, every day.
I'm down
Quantum
besides the
vortex
creepy castle.
energy.
I'm fine with like not having a creepy castle.
Holy. Says lots of stuff. I'll let Codations read it if he wants. It's not really questions. I'm not. He's saying many superpowers are much more possible than you can imagine. We are a self-limited species. Let me see you teleport right behind me right now. Do it. Do it.
Go. Boom.
Where? Oh wait, there's a delay. I'm sorry. Nope, still ain't happen.
So hold on. So what the hell is going on here? Communication with anybody in the world is easy. There is a simple gadget called a cell phone. However, the cell phone with all of its technology is no match to the communication device that is typical in every brain. Hardware, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, so just going like super analytical here.
Yeah, which I'm happy to do on any other normal podcast, but this one's specifically a Q&A type thing, so I don't want to go too deep into that topic.
I'm all good. Bring on the religion
All right.
questions. Let's go.
All right, so can you tell me what role religion played in your life when you were growing up?
The place to get free shit.
Okay, fair enough. I know a lot of people like that were kind of from poor families.
Realistically, I'll keep it short, but realistically, all growing up, the only time that I ever saw the inside of a church, which was quite often, but the only time that I ever saw the inside of the church was realistically when we were making appearances in order to collect, free stuff. So like the church, whether that was the church, bringing us in, getting in contact with somebody, who got in contact with my mom, who would bring us in, to deliver us like, a whole bunch of stuff that they had like accumulated, like, canned food or, food in general, or, things like that. Sometimes it was clothes. It really just depends. And it wasn't just us. I mean, there's other families too. But that was pretty much like the extent. I was in and out of churches all growing up. Based on who she was dating at the time or who she was with in their church. But for the most part, yeah, it was a lot of like donational stuff and, showing up, just to, to collect free stuff basically. And it wasn't free stuff like immediate. It was like, we show up and, collect a whole bunch of shit. Same thing with Christmases. There's a lot of Christmases where we didn't have any gifts, but like 3 or 4 of them that was actually bought from like church members of a church that we didn't go to. So.
Okay, and to continue on that, what role does religion or spirituality play in your life now? What does it mean to you now as an adult?
Now it means a lot to me. And I think that because I've talked about this before, and I don't know if it's a podcast episode or if it was actually just a live stream or what we were doing, but so I actually went through the classes to convert to Catholicism. I'm sorry, this popcorn is tickling the back of my throat. But to convert to Catholicism. I went through, geez, I don't even know how many months, how many classes was it? It was a long time, but I went through a long time of classes, really got to understand the religion before ever making the decision to join the faith. And then I fell in love with it, ended up joining into it. I think it plays a major role in the sense of gives me something to believe in, something to add hope into, and then also, something to put my faith into versus it just being open-ended. But that's kind of where I'm at and how it plays a part.
Okay. Have you ever had a profound spiritual moment in your life?
No,
Okay.
nope.
What are
I
your
know that's a trick
thoughts?
question, but
No, that's
yeah.
fine. There's no wrong answer. I mean, not, Uh, what are your thoughts on about God? How do you imagine God?
Oh, um, I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place on how I imagine them. I think the way that I think everybody imagines him differently. For me personally, I think in terms of um, what's the word here? I don't think he judges as harshly as some people make him out to be. I think it's more based on, and I don't even know if it's even a actual physical, tangible, person. More so as it is as a guidance. Do you know what I mean? And I focus more on the aspect of being a good person and doing the right things in your life. Do you know what I mean? And making up for the wrong things that you have done, and learning from those. I think is what the answer truly is in the end. And then making sure that you have left whatever sort of mark that you want to leave on the earth when you actually leave. So I'm not really sure if that's really answering the question or not, because it's kind of hard to depict on what he actually is to me. But
Yeah, I don't think there's any correct or wrong answer. I was just curious your
perfect.
thoughts on it because I know, just in us talking,
Yep.
and just giving this a little more to kind of, because then it might spark something else that you want to say.
Yep.
If I give you context on what I was looking for or whatever, but I just know we've talked, and I know I would say you're more I don't want to say traditional Christian, but I know my thoughts when we talk, and I've expressed a lot on this podcast, is more of like, no wrong religion, just, try to find God yourself. And so I just wanted to kind of hear someone's thoughts. Since it's always me kind of expressing that, I thought it would be interesting just to kind of hear your thoughts on what you thought,
Yeah.
who
So
God was basically,
so
and how you imagined him to be.
so I'm kind of I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, like, after knowing you, after knowing my wife, after knowing a handful of people in my life, I'm going to say within the past couple of years, it's really opened my eyes up to um what's the word, I guess, to be more open, to have more of an open mind to things, because I kind of tend to live a black and white life on a lot of things, right? Like, I've made it to the point where I bought a house, I bought a car, I got a job, what I mean, I've done all these things, and I've lived this life of that's the right way and that's the only way to do it, versus really diving in and understanding other people. And understanding that my way of doing something or what worked for me isn't necessarily the best way for everybody else. Do you know what I mean? And that people can do their own thing in their own way. You know what I mean? And at their own time, at their own pace. Jeez, I apologize.
Popcorn
Um,
was a bad life choice. No,
Dude, a bad
just
life
kidding.
choice for sure. Bad life choice. But you know what I mean? And so, like, I want to say, especially when it comes to like mine and your friendship, what I mean, and talking to you over just our podcast, over everything, hanging out in your live streams and talking to you and getting to know you more, you've definitely had a mark on me in terms of teaching me to be more open-minded when it comes to other people. Not judging a person by, something or themselves or them or whoever. Instead kind of just, listening, taking in the information, and then kind of just, spinning it and using it in terms of, just accepting the fact that that's that person, or that's how that person is, you know what I mean? And being more open-minded to that concept. I think it's really, really helped me develop as a human. What I mean, as a person, because like I said, I grew up, knowing the background that I came from. What I mean? It's very easy for me to talk to somebody and them to be like, "Oh, I'm stuck and I can't do this." What I mean? It's very easy for me in my mind to be like, "Oh, that's just an excuse." What I mean? Like, you can do this. You can, you can do whatever. That kind of mindset, or it's very easy for me to say, I disagree with this, right? But it was very hard for me to accept anything else, right? So when somebody would come in and they would not agree with something that I agree with, even though to me it's black and white in my head, you know what I mean? I can't see why they think the white side or black side, as far as in terms of the actual situation, why they see the other side. I can't see that, and there was no way of getting that through. Does that make sense? Like, it's kind of confusing maybe, but you get what I'm trying to say. I think that's probably one of the things that has really helped me out. I forgot the damn question.
No, you're answering the questions. You're fine.
Oh, I know. What was the question again? I forgot.
Well, no, the questions originally were your thoughts about God and how do you imagine God, and then I went into kind of just saying why I was asking that, and then you were expounding.
Oh,
on that.
yeah, okay, yeah. So back to trying to pull this back to what I was trying to get at was your comment where you said about traditional or whatever about everybody else God. I'm kind of in the same boat, to be honest with you, as you, or I'm manifesting into that. To trying to just be open-minded, and then really understand kind of what it is. Again, I have not grown up in religion. I don't know a whole lot about other religions besides, the what is it? Stereotype, shit that floats around, you know what I mean? So I can't really, go off of that because it's not really concrete, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to just be more open-minded when it comes to other people and their religion, and just, it is what it is. I think everybody's relationship with God and fuck, dude. Everybody's relationship with God, you know what I mean? And their experience and the things that they're going to go through is going to be all based, between them and that person. You know what I mean? It's none of my business.
Fair enough. Take that drink, dude. I'll talk for a minute.
Dude, I'm freaking dying.
We got Quantum Vortex energy in the chat just going off, telling us all about this crazy shit. I'm not even getting into it with him because he's just fucking. He's apparently some high level fucking government crazy ass motherfucker. So Alex trying to ask him some questions, but he won't let him. Yo, it might soothe the throat, dude. Might soothe the throat. All right, I got like 2 or 3 questions left, and then if nobody else in the chat, we can. I know you're dying, but kind of now that we started into it, I want to ask these last ones.
I'm good. I'm just packing up.
Yeah, that's fine. Do you think about dying, and how does it make you feel thinking about it?
I would say prior to my son being born, it never bothered me. I don't think that it's something that I ever really think about in terms of worried about or skeptical about, or is it lurking around the corner type of mindset. And then if it ever happened, I never really put a lot of thought into it. I think now that my son has been born, I think I put in a lot more thought into it, in terms of, obviously the simple one would be, leaving him. I mean, I think that's a really big one. And then another one is to making sure that I have, what's the word? Set stuff up. I mean, to make sure that he was taken care of, in terms of, like whether a home or financially or whatever, for him. And then not only that too, I mean, I think that a lot of it comes down to making sure that, I've experienced, will it ever be enough? You know what I mean? I mean, now I'm hitting that mindset with my son that, will there ever be enough time? You know what I mean? Will there ever come a time where I would be able to satisfactorily, geez Louise, that's a horrible fucking word, that I would be able to, be on my deathbed or dying, I mean, or die, I mean, and not feel like I wish there was more. Does that make sense? And so
and that I actually, my next question kind of in that was, if you were to die suddenly this evening, what would you regret not having done?
And I think, and I don't think that I would ever have, I don't think I would have regrets. I know we talked a little bit about that before in a live stream, but I don't think there's any regrets that I have, whether it's done or not doing. I honestly think it would come down to time. I think that it would suck to die like tomorrow, for instance. And by the way, if this is the case, right, because we always got to take it for what it's worth, right? We're here. If I was to die tomorrow or not wake up tomorrow, I think the suckiest part, again, I'm dead. So in theory, I wouldn't be thinking. But I think that the suckiest part would be that I didn't get to enjoy more time with my son. Not that I don't enjoy time with my son now. It's just going forward, I wouldn't be able to enjoy that time, or even with my wife. You know, I mean, obviously she is, you know, she still counts, but I'm just saying, you know, that's kind of, you know, been our shift, you know, ever since he was born. You know what I mean? You know, is actually being able to show him the cool things, you know, video games and computer stuff and Legos and tech. I mean, you know, and watching him grow up, which is scary as fuck, by the way. But you know what I mean, but watching that manifest, I mean, I think that would be the thing that I would regret not being able to see the most. But again, you know, it all depends on what you believe. You know, I mean, if I'm dead, I'm dead, right? As some people, you know, I'm then an angel. You know what I mean? So then I would be able to see it all just from a different angle. You know, I don't really know, but.
Okay. How do you imagine? This might be a weird question, but I've asked this to people before, and I always find it interesting.
Yep.
How do you imagine your death? So that might mean, to kind of set this up for you, kind of a two-part question. Number one, like when you're dead and you're you know, dead. Maybe, you know, some people, you know, have told me, like, you know, they kind of, this is how they picture their funeral is going to be and who will be at their funeral. Some people take it as the opposite of how do you think you're going to die? Because I think a lot of people tend to have an inkling of what it is that's going to kill them. Like I'll use myself for an example. My fear of dying is like if I said, like, oh, if somebody said Derek died tonight and I had to guess why, I would say a heart attack, because my family has a history. The males in my family have a history of you know, having bad hearts and stuff. You know, and again, so you can kind of take it either way, but I'd be curious. Princess says this has turned emo. I told you the last questions the God and the death questions get heavy. That's why I saved it for the end.
See, I don't know if I've ever had an inclination or ever thought about it, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know that answer. I don't have one thing that I feel like would be a weird thought, to be honest with you. I actually think that I'm completely a weird human in the sense of I think about freak accidents and shit happening all the time, and I've always been that person, but I feel like I always try to prevent that shit from happening all the time. Like I take extra steps and extra precautions all the time in order to prevent weird shit like that. Like, to give you an example, we live on a street you know, that we got to drive down. It's got a lot of stop signs, you know what I mean, on the left and right hand side. You know, we have the straightaway, but I see people blow those stop signs all the time, you know, going left or right, like 55, you know, miles an hour in a fucking 30, you know, mile an hour, you know, neighborhood, all the time. So there's a lot of times where, like, I actively think in that moment all the time when I drive home, I hit that stop, or my lane, I don't have a stop sign, but I will purposely slow down at every one of those because I just picture, for whatever reason, you mean a car, you know, blowing through that stop sign, impaling the side of my vehicle. Do you know what I mean? And before, you know, anybody gets there or whatever, you know, like, it would just suck balls. I mean, but it's not just that. I think about shit all the time. I mean, my mind is so psychologically fucked up. I feel like, you know what I mean? I literally think about shit like this all the time. You can ask the wife, like I purposely, like, I lock the door, the internal door to my basement, which has no entrance, but I lock it on the inside when I go to bed every night. And people ask me, like, why the hell do you lock that door? And I'm like, well, because what if somebody happens to be in the basement hiding out all day long, waiting to come up the stairs to fucking murder me? Do you know what I mean? Like, hopefully that locked door will prevent them, right? Like, they're not going to kick the door open, or, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of shit that my mind thinks about all the fucking time. Like, I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. I literally lock the screen door on the outside of our side door of the house when our house door has a deadbolt and a regular lock, and the screen door is not going to do fucking anything, you know, to prevent somebody from getting in. It's just a little flip up lock. So, I mean, I don't know, dude. I just do shit like that all the time. I'm just weird like that, but I don't know. I mean, I don't really think about my death, to be honest with you. I don't really have.
Whoa, hold on. It sounds like you think about your death a lot.
No, I'm saying, but in terms of, like, the way you talked about it was like specifics. Like, I don't have like a specific.
Well, no, I was just trying to give some example. I mean, that's what I was trying to say. Maybe I said it wrong. That's why I was trying to explain it. I've gotten different. I posed the question kind of general to see what I get, just like I got that from you. Okay. And I've gotten that from people before. I was just more trying to give, you know, in case the brain wasn't, you know, if my question wasn't good enough, I was basically trying to explain some of the types of answers I've got that might get you on the right track. But yeah, I mean, I basically just asking, you know, Yeah, like, do you think about yourself dying? How do you think about yourself dying? Again, some people like me, I always think like it's going to be a heart attack that gets me. That's like, for me it's one
Right.
thing. For you it's multiple things.
But so then,
But yeah,
so
that
then let me ask
wasn't
you
a
this. But so let me ask you this: if that is the case, right, and you find that with the heart attack thing being like the thing that you think you're going to die, so then do you find peace in every other aspect, and you don't worry about dying because you think that it's the only way you're going to go is going to be heart attack, or no?
Yeah, for the most part, I mean, I can't, there's been times in my life where something has scared me and I thought maybe, like, I remember, for example, one time I was riding a motorcycle and I had the thought, this front wheel could just fall off this bike. Something could malfunction on the bike. The front wheel could come off and I'd be thrown, riding a motorcycle 65 miles per hour. I'd be dead. But for the most part, those thoughts don't. No, I don't check I mean, I'm actually very opposite. I'll leave my house and leave the doors unlocked, and someone breaks in, they break in. I don't, whatever. I mean, I'm not. It's more for me. It's always been fear of death. More on my mind's always fixated on one thing, which is a heart attack for some reason.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, no, I mean it's very interesting to know. I mean, like I said, I mean mine and again, just for anybody that's listening out there, I mean, I see Alex's thing where it says, damn, that's intense. Like, it's not like like that it controls my life. It's I mean, like literally, I don't even think about it. Like that's the crazy part. Like I'm thinking about it maybe subconsciously, but I don't think about it as in in the moment or anything. I mean, like it just happens. Does that make sense? You mean like, like I just do these things and then I'm reminded that I do these things by other people. You know what I mean? Like my wife making a joke about the basement door. You mean, you know what I mean? Or I don't know, somebody making a joke about, me slowing down when there's no stop sign. You mean, or, just random shit like that. You mean, or like me, being precautious, when somebody, knocks on the door. You mean, I mean, there's a lot of times where someone knocks on the door. I'm not a person, for the most part, that's going to fucking open that door wide ass open. I mean, just to talk to them. You know what I mean? I've heard, too many horror stories, with people, something happening to somebody. You know what I mean? So, normally I'm the type of person that, I crack the door. I mean, I mean, I'm looking, I'm talking through the door. You mean, if I don't know the person, stuff like that. It's just I do these things without thinking about it. You know what I mean? But other people notice them, so they call them out or they point them out, and then I'm reminded, like, oh yeah, I forgot, I'm a fucking weirdo. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, it just sounds like you try to control the risk in your life as much as you're able to, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, I do that as well. So I guess if you're saying in that aspect, I mean, yeah, I probably do that, to some extent, where it's not really so much as thinking about the death as it is of just knowing that death could happen. So what can I do to make sure I'm staying the safest I can? Just like wearing a seatbelt. You most people don't think that they're going to die because they're not wearing the seatbelt, but that by,
Not wearing it,
you
raise
increase
the
your
risk.
chance. Yeah. So
Right.
that makes sense.
I guess but you led me to a really good answer. Here's my sentence. My answer to the question is, I just figured it out. My answer to the question is I try to make sure that when my time comes to die, that I have done everything I can to prevent that from happening prior to it just naturally happening. Let's put it that way. That's my answer to that. Is that if death's going to get me, it's going to be because death was meant to get me, do you know what I mean? And not because of a mistake or something that I did, you know what I mean? Or that I could have probably potentially done to prevent that from happening. Again, depends on what you believe in.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting because I've not, it's kind of making me think about some stuff too, which is that it really shows that then it's almost in some sense it almost seems like it's a fear of death, or
Right.
else you probably wouldn't. And at some point in your life, I think most people start, because I remember when at least in my own life, I can remember when that flip switched for me to where I never even really thought ever about dying or that I was going to die. And then all of a sudden, like realizing like, oh, one day I'm going to die. Then all of a sudden it was like, my brain's like, okay, here's how we can do these things to limit the chance of you dying,
Right.
which is an interesting switch. Because I don't think you have that at all, as child. I think at some point that flips on, that switch.
Right. And I agree with you. And I would agree with that. I would second that up. I mean, again, I mean, I think, and it's not everything. I mean, obviously I know there's things out of my control. I mean, I get on a plane and fly a plane. The plane, obviously is having trouble or it goes down. I mean, I die, that makes sense. I can't control that. Do you know what I mean? But, the things leading up to that point, I mean, or the thing, anything that I feel that I can control, then I try to do that, or at least subconsciously make choices, to try to prevent that. And that's in every aspect of my life. But sometimes I think it does get a little extreme. I think it prevents me from potentially enjoying myself or having experiences that I wouldn't, otherwise had. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyways.
And last question that I have
for the night, ladies and gentlemen.
For
the
night.
Podcast is going to over.
And if anyone has any last final ones they want to ask out of anything we've talked about tonight, feel free to throw them in the chat, and I'll get them before we actually end. But the last one that I have is kind of a two-parter. The first part being is how do you want to be remembered? What type of person do you want to be remembered as when you do pass?
I want to be remembered as the super positive person who was very social, very outgoing, willing to help anybody and everybody, and just had a loving wife and child, and he did everything he could to provide for them. Boom.
Okay. And so if you had to, sum that up in one word, I guess, or kind of like you want to be just remembered as a good person.
Yep. Positive poly.
Good. Okay. Positive poly. Okay. So for the last question, do you think you are that person?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. That's it for me, Codations.
Anybody else have any other questions before we end the podcast, before we go through the entire, rundown on our social media platforms, where you can find us at, what our day jobs are?
And wow, people are putting that, so how'd I do? Was that all right? Or is it?
Yeah, no, I think it was good. Yeah, no, yeah, man, you did a really good job. Your questions were really good too. I mean, mine, I kind of went more towards, like funny, like random, like 20 questions,
which was fine,
kind of questions,
yeah.
and then yours was more driven, like thoughtful questions. Like you put in some actual thought. You were like, shit, what do I want to know about Codations over here?
Yeah. And I mean, full disclosure, I mean, they're not. Yes, I mean, I put thought into it, but they're not all my original questions. I mean, they're questions I've picked up over the years. I've done, I've interviewed. I'm the type of person, I've done interviews with all my grandparents, where I sat down and recorded them and had a whole list of questions like this. And again, I mean, I am very much, tend to be a philosophical / spiritual thinking type person, or so I tend to be a little thoughtful. So I knew it was going to be a little different than yours, which is not to say anything negative about yours. I thoroughly enjoyed the questions you asked, and it was super fun and stuff. I was more worried mine might come off a little dry because I tend to go deeper in some things. So I'm glad you enjoyed it then, or sounds like you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no worries. Nope, I completely enjoyed it. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I don't mind talking about any of that stuff as well. And I know that a lot of people find that my backstory is super interesting and intriguing. So I just like to tell it as much as possible when people ask, but I don't like to voice it. So
yeah, it's crazy how similar, because I didn't move around a lot, but I also had a very crazy childhood. And a lot of theft, a lot of like I did a lot of the theft stuff, a lot of the, I don't know, there was just a lot of things you said tonight. I was like, oh damn, that hits home pretty not entirely. I mean, you're the whole your mom moving around, your mom, all that overdose. I mean, plenty of stuff that I have no idea what the fuck any of that means. You know what I mean? I mean, I know what it means, but you know what I'm saying? Have no
yeah, no, I get what you're saying for sure.
But was super interesting just kind of hearing all of that and your backstory and getting to know you a little better and on a little bit of a deaper level. So it was very, very cool. I enjoyed it. Sure. I enjoyed it. Alex says it was pretty good. Have a good night. You as well, Alex. Thanks for stopping in and checking out and hanging out with Codations. Princess, if you're still here, thanks for making it eventually and for hanging out and chilling. Sorry the end questions got a little emo for you. I'm not sorry. But I love your guys' faces. Before we end, though, we do like to shout out because I know the majority of our listens, at least according to analytics, not that any of them ever seem to find us on our socials. So if you're listening, come find us on Twitter, on our Discord, somewhere. It's not very hard because Codations is about to tell you how to find him, and then I will tell you how to find me.
So basically just youtube.com/codations. I pretty much cover a lot of different variety of mobile games. So obviously you can check out my channel there and anything you want from there. And then I also do have a Twitter page. You can hop over there. And then also in my videos, I have a Discord that you can jump into from the description. So that's pretty much where you can find me at. I do have a Facebook as well. It's not on Codations. It's actually my personal account, which you can obviously follow me there too if you would like. So.
And the best way to reach me is through my website, omgitsderek.com. Has links to all my socials, my YouTubes, my Twitch, my Twitter, all that places. Twitter is my main hangout. That's where I do the most socialing. So that's definitely a place to follow me outside of the actual content creation spaces, which would be Twitch and YouTube. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, we appreciate it. Love hanging out with you guys. Next week, we'll probably get back to more of our regular scheduled podcast, which means probably back to like some topics and stuff. So if you have things you want to chat about, same time, same place, same day, we'll see you then. Say bye, Codations.
Later. Oh, bye. See you
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good night, guys.